we do here is go back.
And there we go. How's that looking? That's not looking too... It looks a bit bright, actually. We're looking a bit bright. Cheers, everybody. It is Saturday, the something or other of something. 7th of August, 2021. I had to think about that then. Hopefully you're all good. Sorry, just having a little drink there. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Not sure if the picture looks a little bit weird and noisy, but we will persevere with it. Don't know what's been going on tonight. I got this all set up about an hour ago, and everything was looking good. Set it up, streaming software, new stream key, all that kind of stuff. But for some bizarre reason, it just would not let me click on start stream. It said it was getting an excellent connection, but just wouldn't let me start. So, yes, I am confused, and my sincerest apologies. I'm not too sure if the colour's looking a bit washed out as well. Weirdly, OBS on my screen here looks really nice and vivid and plenty of colour, but the stream replay over on this window looks a little shitty, if I'm completely honest with you, and that looks a little bit bleached out as well. Technology, what a wonderful thing. Is it 1080p?
That's 720.
Who knows? Who cares? What the heck? Let's just get on with it. You guys don't care. That's why you're subs, because we just wing it and do whatever we can. So, good evening, one and all. Hopefully you're all having a good evening, and hopefully it's not raining cats and dogs where you are. It has been raining pretty much relentlessly most of the week here in Bristol, in the United Kingdom. For those of you who don't know, Bristol is in the southwest of the United Kingdom, about 25 miles in from the coast, so we do get some bizarre weather. Being an island, it's obviously very changeable, but mostly it's just damp. Damp, wet, cloudy. If you imagine, I'm not sure if you got it in your country, possibly you have, maybe you haven't, there's a product called Tupperware. Now it's a plastic product. It's a plastic product, which is, I think it's mostly in the United States and in the UK, but maybe you've seen it elsewhere. But essentially it's a range of plastic containers with interchangeable lids. And if you get one of those Tupperware containers, like the sandwich box, they used to have one called the double divider. It had a brown lid, a kind of opaque base, and a little plastic divider that went in the middle, so you'd have your sandwiches on one side and your goodies on the other side, like your Kit Kat and your apple and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to know what it's like to actually live in the United Kingdom, all you need to do is to get that Tupperware container and actually just look through the bottom section, the opaque plastic thing, and kind of just look up at the sky, and that will give you a rough idea of what it's like living in the United Kingdom. It is bland, cloudy, misty, and moist. Probably not the best word to use to describe the United Kingdom. But despite all that, I still love living here, so crazy. Anyway,
although we've had a hell of a week.
Yeah, we have had an absolute C-word of a week. We really, really have. We've got, well, due to the English weather and the Tupperware box outlook, as things generally are, we live in a 1930s house, and from what we were speaking to our neighbour today when we had the builder out looking at the roof, he actually commented that he's lived next door for about 50 years. and he has never seen anybody do anything with our roof. So yeah, the previous owners did absolutely, and we've done less. We don't look after the roof because it's a roof. I don't like heights, to be completely honest with you. So our roof is in a shocking state of disrepair. So whenever it's been raining this week, I've had to come up with some kind of MacGyver plan involving, actually, oh no, I haven't got it down here anymore, but for those of you that work in the TV industry or have got YouTube channels, there's this thing called lighting gels. And these are basically tinted plastic which you put in front of lighting to change the colour of the lighting. I've basically been gaffer taping these gels to the wall in the bathroom to catch the drips coming down off the ceiling and curving the gel round with another bit of tape to actually funnel it into the toilet, the bog, the crapper. So we are poor people and we're very humble people, and we live in a house where we've only got one toilet. So yeah, currently our toilet is being used as a basically a reservoir for our roof leak.
Which is okay for boys, but not so great for girls.
Yeah. For the boys, it's not too bad because obviously you can stand up and you can take a leisurely aim at the porcelain.
At the same time as the drip.
And watch the drips while you're doing it. See if you can actually hit a drip as you're doing it. But for the ladies of the house, yeah, not so much fun. Sat down with basically a orange coloured piece of plastic, just basically as a massive hat on your head, dripping drips of water on you.
And Matthew Day says British summer, the rain is nice and warm. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I can tell you it's not nice and warm.
Yeah, when it's raining, when it's warm and it's raining, it's not too bad. If you're sat on the toilet
at 3 in the morning,
in the early hours of the morning when it's freezing cold and there's cold rain dripping down your back after you've just got to have a nice warm bed, I can tell you it's not a great look. It's one of those things. Imagine going out of a really boiling hot house and you haven't got a coat on. You go out bare, and you go out and someone drips a nice cold drip down your back. It is like someone stabbed you. It is absolutely horrendous. So if I appear to be even more tired looking than I normally am, and even more spaced out than usual, that's because A, listening out for impending doom from your roof every night isn't fun. It doesn't aid restive sleep, but yeah, we're getting there. We've had the builder out today and we've basically cut sections out of the gutter so the water tries to stay away from the roof. I know this is a tech channel, but you guys are probably slightly, possibly, maybe a little bit interested in our personal life. So anyway, there you go. I'm making excuses already. So yeah, that is what we've been dealing with this week. And because of such things going on and having to kind of, as soon as the heavens open, having to run upstairs and fix leaks and put towels down and then trying to dry these towels out, filming stuff this week has been an absolute nightmare. But
you're better.
Fear not, because I am feeling much better after my brief indulgence with the global malware. Kath is feeling much better as well, for those of you that have asked, and obviously Angel and George as well, they're doing much better. Obviously they're much younger, so they don't get affected so much. But for us old fogies, yes, me, myself, I'm almost 90% now, so still a little bit going on up in my head and a little bit of a cough every now and then, but certainly much better. So on the road to recovery, which is absolutely awesome, which means we can start making content and I can actually speak and I can say, hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing, without coughing or without it all blocking up in my nose. That's such a weird feeling, saying, hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing, but not being able to say Mike's Unboxing. I've actually got to the point that last week or so where I've been thinking, do I actually change my intro? I'm so used to saying it now after 4 years, it's hard not to say the same thing.
You've even bought a neti pot to sort your nose out.
I did even buy a tiny little pot which you put salt water in, like a saline solution, and just tip it through your nose to clear stuff out. That's not a very nice experience either, I can tell you.
I like it.
Kath likes it because she's mental. Oh dear, so yeah, it has been something of a crazy, yeah, I've been rubbing my Q-Link like crazy, losing subscribers in the process. Some of you guys, I know most of you, the ones that are in the live stream tonight, you are the kind of the hardcore, you're the ones that just don't care or you just can't make friends so you're watching. But, I shouldn't say that.
Or you take us with a pinch of salt.
You take us with a pinch of salt and yeah, you believe some things we say and some things you just... But there was a Q-Link offer on the last couple of weeks.
Still is.
I think it's still on actually until the 11th, I believe, where they're doing 50% off the Q-Links, which they're linked in the description below if you want to see it. I personally believe it's helped me and has given me a little bit of positivity and hope in an otherwise very glim situation. Take that as you will. But anyway, some people, I posted the link saying, look, there's a discount on if you want it. It's great, go for it, help yourselves, blah, blah, blah. Some people are like, I thought you were a proper YouTuber and you can't promote things like this. I'm unsubbing. It's like, okay, that's absolutely fine. No one's holding you to ransom. If you want information from the channel on a tech side, absolutely fine. The other things we review, if you're not interested, it's fine, not a problem. But I think it's a little bit weird these days where people are so kind of laser focused in if you have a certain belief or a certain affiliation or a certain worldview, that somehow means that you're not any good at what you actually do, like maybe tech reviews or whatever it is. It's a really weird thing. I don't know, this whole cancel culture kind of thing which is going around is really, it's a little bit childish in some respects. I get it, there's some people who've got very extreme views, in which case, yes, understandable. But just because I promoted a Q-Link, does that mean I'm crap at tech? Well, actually, I am a little bit crap at tech, but my reviews are honest and they get me into trouble, as the Gamemax one did, which I probably shouldn't talk about, but what the hell, you guys know what these streams like on a Saturday, just kind of no holds barred and we just let loose. Last week's live stream was with the Gamemax COC case, which we had a little bit of a laugh and a bit of a giggle about. I'm not entirely sure that Gamemax saw the same side of it as we did, to some extent. They have emailed me this week saying, oh, we were surprised to see you mentioning the case on Saturday's stream. Come as a bit of a surprise to us. They didn't... Yeah, can we phone you next week for a chat? It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Anything in particular you want to talk about? But I didn't go into too much detail. I just said, yeah, cool. It was a bit of a live stream, a little bit of a laugh and a joke, and we do take a look at the less serious side of tech as well. But for those of you that haven't seen last week's stream, I suggest you do. It's actually quite funny, and
William Brody's saying there was no stream last week. There was.
There was a stream last week. Yes.
He was in it, wasn't he?
You were in it. Crazy fool. Anyway, so there was a stream. Was it last week? Yeah, it would have been last week. Yeah, it definitely was because they seen it on Monday. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, if you want to check out that and see what we were going on about, you can do. Some of you may have already seen the video which we released on Friday, which was actually the kind of the grown-up review of the case, and we take a look at it and go through some of the specs. And actually, from what I can tell from the viewing figures already, you guys actually were quite impressed with it and liked it a lot. So it started off probably about 4 of 10 in the rankings of our videos, and as of the last few hours or so, it's actually gone up to 3 of 10. So that is generally a sign that a video is doing good, people are enjoying it, people are watching it, and also YouTube are promoting it to other people. So for those of you that liked it and put a comment on the video and hit the like button, all that kind of stuff, thank you so much, because all that kind of stuff helps the algorithm and helps the video get out there and be seen by more people. And actually the Gamemax case, although I would say potentially as a personal thing for the actual look of it, the style of it, I'm not entirely sure if it's a 100% for me. There's aspects of it that I really, really did like. There's aspects of it which I think could have been done better, which I did quite openly state in the stream and also covered in the review as well. And we will be taking another look at it going forward. I have done some testing with that COC fan. The less said about that, the probably the better. But I have done some testing with it with my Ryzen 9 3900X, basically giving it pretty much a torture test in terms of temperatures and stuff. And there are some actually very interesting results. So obviously that will be coming out, I think, well, we haven't set a date for that yet. I think I might speak to Gamemax first and discuss my findings and see what they think, get their opinion. I'm not entirely sure they're going to be overly stoked. It wasn't stellar performance, but I can only say, sorry, I got an eyelash going on my eye or something, or eyebrow thing. I can only say my findings. Now, what other people may find may be different, but I've tested it, I've given my honest appraisal of it, and that's probably best we should say on it. But I'll not say thankfully, that's probably the wrong word, but on the back of that, one of the other regular kind of contributors to the channel, IONZ, actually reached out to us and said, hi mate, we've got a couple of new cases. Maybe we could send them over to you to take a look at. Always happy to see cases from IONZ, and
so is Maisie.
So is Maisie, actually. She is currently perched on top of one of them.
She's got twin divans.
2 new cases, as you've probably seen from the thumbnail from this video. If you haven't, we will be going through them, unbox them, and having a quick tour through them. Essentially, both cases that we've got are the IONZ Taiyo and the IONZ Kesha, I believe, or Kesha. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that. I might have to check in with them, see what they say. But essentially, they're both based on the same chassis, just with slight tweaks to the fans and also the front panel. So the actual chassis itself does appear to be very, very similar to a particularly well-known case which we've reviewed and I find very, very promising before. It's a slight tweak of it, so it's a little bit more compact, but to me, my first impressions of it were, that's the Lianli 215 case, which is also a Gamemax F15. So if you like the Gamemax F15, if you like the Lianli 215, but you don't want to spend £60, you want to spend considerably less, then these IONZ cases might be right up your street. Now the Kesha, or Kesha, case is a very, very unusual design on the front panel. So we've got some geometric kind of fractal type shapes going on, tons of ventilation. Yeah, a really interesting design. So essentially it's a complete full mesh front, as is the Taiyo, I believe it's called. Is it Taiyo or Taiyo? Not too sure. Why do they have these difficult names? Can't they just call it a number? That'd be a lot easier. Anyway, we'll be taking those out of the box later.
Why can't they call it?
We will be plugging in a power supply so you can get a good view of the RGB goodness, which is always a good time to either A, send a super chat, or get Kath to say bang. That always works really well, and yeah. Scares the bejesus out of me, but Kath likes it, and it makes you guys smile, so there is that to it. So I think that's probably...
They want to look at the display, you better say hello first.
Yeah, I better say hello to you guys. They want to see the display?
Yeah, that LCD display.
Oh yeah, these bits here, which you can probably see just about. Actually, let's get rid of the banner so you can see a bit clearer. There we go, there's the banner gone. Hey, look at that technology that works. Some of these bits here, this is stuff we've had sent in to us. This show is sponsored by Ugly Bob and Skystalker currently. So from Ugly Bob, he sent us these U-Green High Tune earbuds, which we'll be taking a look at. He also sent over this, which is from Rapo, or Rapo. Rapo, that's not a very good name either, is it? Why is it with PC equipment naming these days, for God's sakes? There's going to be a pedo mouse next, that's all we need. Anyway, so this is the Rapo MT750L. For those of you that haven't seen it before, essentially it is a very convincing clone of a certain well-known Logitech mouse, which is going to be a difficult one for me to review, if I'm completely honest with you, because this is essentially a ergonomic mouse for right-handers, and being that I am one of those strange left-handed people, yeah, excuse me, it's not going to make life easy, is it? So that is, yeah, where we're at. Oh, Skystalker, sorry, I should say that as well. Skystalker bought one of these for himself. This is a 7-inch LCD touchscreen display for plugging into what, laptops, desktops, anything with HDMI, to be honest with you. So you can use this for various things. I'm planning on using it as a secondary monitor on my desk, because my desk over there is tiny. And my, actually, if I show you, I don't think there's anything that is potentially incriminating over there currently. There probably was earlier. So there is my desk, and you see I've got those doors on the side. So that's where I hang my USBs off. And I'm going to stick the monitor in one of those doors, because I haven't got enough room for another monitor in that desk, as you can probably see. So that is where the monitor is planning to go. So I'm going to run some HDMI cables through, USB cable, and a USB power cable for the monitor. And hopefully I'm going to stick it into the inside, kind of the inlet, not inlet, what do you call it? Like the recess of the door. So then I can have the door, I can angle it across a little bit, and I can just briefly look over for things like Discord notifications, or maybe kind of YouTube or email or whatever. So when I'm doing video editing, I generally have it on the full screen because I want to see everything that's going on clearer. So having a second monitor just so I can peek to the side to see if things are really needing to be addressed, if there's an urgent thing on Discord that I need to kind of see to, rather than waiting for me to finish the editing and then minimize and all that stuff. It'd be great because I can just peer across and go, oh yeah, excellent. So Sky, God bless him, is sent over from the good old Canada. What's Kath? She's lost it.
Sorry,
And anyway, so yeah, Sky bought one of these. I think one of them was broken, so they sent another. And the company just seems to keep on sending him more and more of these. So he's getting a good selection of them. So thank you so much for sending that. I know, actually for all of you guys and girls out there that send things into the channel, we do appreciate it. A certain Welly Bob also bequeathed us with a fantastic gift this week. And we did send out some goodies in return. Same for Bob and Sky. We're going to have to send you something out as well to say thank you for all these kind things. So yeah, we do appreciate it, we really do. So we are a very kind of humble channel, humble people, and for you guys to show your appreciation or just to share some love with us is a fantastic thing, and it is very nice. So we do thank you. I don't actually know where the monitor came from. I think
they keep thinking it's from Banggood or somewhere, but
it potentially is from Banggood. I don't know. It doesn't even have a obvious model on it. It does say it's the long runner. And it's a 1024 by 600 resolution. They've got an LPN number, but I don't know whether that'll be very helpful. So let's stick that in there so you can see there, long runner, if it ever focuses. Is it going to focus? Probably won't.
looks like it's focused on the camera. Yeah, you can see that quite clearly.
There we go. There's the numbers. So if you want to look it up, you can do. There you go. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit. Also this week we got sent something which is something which I don't think anybody's asked for. And actually, let's. I'll quickly ask you now before we say hello in the comments there. Kath, focus is out completely. Sorry. Hopefully, as of Wednesday, focus will be a thing of the past. We do have a new member of the Mike's Unboxing family starting. So, yes.
Not behind the camera.
Not behind the camera. So there we go. That is Thermaltake's Tough RAM Racing Green. They've actually released a whole bunch of RAM in various colours. So there's a green, there's a yellow, there's a red, a blue, a silver, white and black. Let me know in the comments, this is a genuine question, if you're buying RAM for your PC, for your build, what would make you choose a coloured stick of RAM? This is a genuine question. I actually do want you to answer this in the comment section. So please do get involved. If you're new here, say hello in the chat and let us know.
And then you can say hello back.
I will say hello back as well and possibly even reply to you. You never know. But this is one of those things which I don't know why it exists. It seems like a really odd thing. Like the Tough RAM is good stuff, don't get me wrong. We took a look at it before. I think it was actually a very similar setup as this. Possibly even exactly the same.
I think the last lot have an X.
But why Racing Green? Now Thermaltake they've started to do a whole range of components and cases in these various colours. So we've got the green, the red, the yellow, blue, etc, etc. But let me know in the comments. It's going to be good to get a representation to see kind of who the target audience is for this.
Interrupt. We're not talking RGB RAM, are we? It is RGB, but we're talking...
It's RGB, but it's the actual RAM stick itself, the heat spreader on the side, is green.
British Racing Green.
So you'll see it later when we get some close-ups of that in this. It's kind of weird. Sorry, Kath, can you spin that light around a little bit? It's a bit dark. With the other one off.
This is where the whole thing is down.
That's perfect. There we go. You can see what we're doing now. Hi. Actually, yeah, tell the lighting's right because now we're the shutter speed's working, so we're not getting weird, crazy motion blur.
No, it is there.
Oh, maybe it is a little bit. Anyway, I've waffled on for far too long. Let's have a look in the chat here, and we've had some super chats come in, so I should acknowledge those because I'm not a complete git. Where we got? So why does it not say that? Let's have viewer activity. That'll be it, won't it? So Ricardo sent us 20,000 COPs. I'm not too sure what they are. He's got to go, work to do, family day too. Oh, thank you, Ricardo. Appreciate that. And thank you, Ugly Bob, for the super chat before we actually started streaming, which was, I think was it £2? I can't see on this screen. Stupid YouTube. Yeah, I think it's because I refreshed it after. But yes, thank you, Bob, also. And so let's say hello to those who are in the chat. So we've got Markovsky, Matt Games. We have got Aletta with us as well. Aletta says she wasn't impressed with the case. Fair dues. It's like I said in the review, and I am completely upfront and honest about it. It isn't for everybody. I don't think there's a case really on the market which is you could turn around and say, yes, this case is suitable for absolutely everybody. There possibly is maybe one or two which come quite close. But I think when you've got such a kind of slightly outlandish design, you've got a lot of plastic, you've got a lot of RGB, and some slightly quirky features, obviously some people are not going to be totally endeared to it. Others are going to look at it and go, wow, that's different, I want that in my life. So it is going to be one of those things, they have, I think, deliberately kind of condensed their target audience to a certain kind of demographic of people that are heavily into looks and RGB on that particular case. And a lot of people, I wouldn't say it's a 50-50, but there is definitely a large proportion of people out there which just don't like RGB, don't like garish looking cases or kind of geometric designs, that kind of stuff. So obviously those people are completely out of the question, and yes, I completely understand your point there. William Bodie says, I was waiting 3 hours and there was no live stream, not on YouTube.
Week before last.
Oh, that was the week before last. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, yeah, there wasn't a stream because I was semi-dead. Markovsky says, I thought the idea of potential customer feedback was to feedback. I agree. Feedback is always a good thing.
Not if you're the company.
Unless you're the company and it's bad feedback or negative feedback or just someone taking the piss out of their product.
It's not bad feedback of their company.
Yeah. There is, I remember there used to always be a phrase, and I think it's still relevant now, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Because any publicity is publicity. If your name is being mentioned, unless it's in a really, really bad way, I think anything is going to be better than nothing. I don't know, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Barry says, hi Mike, it's Half the Tree. How you doing, Barry? And Brandy says, say what you see. Yep, I do try to. I genuinely do. Sometimes I do get to a point, over the last few weeks when I've had this human malware thing, it's definitely affected my mood. Because of not feeling 100%, that definitely does have an impact. So things which normally wouldn't have triggered me as much have definitely made me significantly more angry or significantly more perturbed by certain things. It's a lot easier to trigger me, definitely. I have noticed that, so that probably has come through in some of the reviews. I'm a human being ultimately, and I can only do what I can do. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff, and I'm not going to redo videos and redo stuff because at the time I wasn't feeling on top of the world or whatever. It is what it is. My opinions still stand. They may be exaggerated slightly, but they still stand ultimately. And I think realistically for most, if not all of the viewers of the channel, I would consider you guys out there to be kind of critical thinkers. So you're the sort of people that you'll watch a review or you'll watch me do a video, you'll take my input on it, but ultimately you'll make it your own damn minds. Because you are critical thinkers, so you're not going to follow the pack, you're not a load of sheep out there just doing whatever I tell you to do or not what I tell you to do. You are going to think for yourselves, and I prefer that. I don't want to be one of those people that promote something and you'll go out there and go, oh yeah, I gotta buy it.
I watch other reviews.
I would prefer that you guys make your own minds up and actually challenge my opinions, because that is ultimately what this whole thing is about. It isn't about me preaching to you, this is right, this is wrong. This is about me telling you my opinion and then you making your own damn minds up, which yeah, is the way it should be, I think. William says, sorry, it was 2 weeks ago. I got too much beer. No worries. No worries. Bob says, bang. Yes, we don't like bang. Bang is bad.
Ugly Bob says he's a critical drinker.
Aletta says, personally, I don't mind spending £200 to £300 for a good PC case. Now, I'm in a very, I would say I'm the polar opposite of that, because for me, the case does very little other than give you somewhere to house your components. I would much rather myself personally put the money that I'd, inverted commas, saved on a case, put it into components. Now, if you've got tons of money and you can still buy high-end components and an expensive case, that is absolutely fine. But for me personally, like I said at the beginning of the stream, we're humble people. We're not flash with the cash, and even if we did have the cash, we probably still wouldn't, because value from
It might feel sick.
It does make me feel physically sick. I had to pay my tax bill this week, and that made me feel quite bilious, I'll be honest with you. What was I going to say? Yeah, even if I did have the money, I probably wouldn't spend a ton of money on a case. If I thought it looked really nice, I might spend a little bit extra. If it came with a few extra features which I needed, maybe some fans, an RGB controller, whatever, then I might spend a little bit more. But if I spend anything more than £100 on a case, it would have to be something extremely special. I'm talking like, this thing's going to make tea. Otherwise,
You got me for that.
anything between £30 and £100 is where I'm comfortable spending money on a case that I would use for my own personal use. If I'm doing it for someone else, building someone else's rig, hell, they can choose whatever they like. They can have a £10 case if they want to. It's entirely up to them. But for me personally, I think there is a bottom end, as in price-wise, where you get to a point where they're kind of junk. They're fine. Again, it is just a place to house stuff, but there's things about it which are maybe flimsy, fall apart, doesn't resonate very well with fans in it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there is a middle ground. I'm really happy in the £50 to £60 mark. I think for PC gaming and for kind of more budget orientated builds, somewhere around the £50, £60 mark here in the UK is pretty much the sweet spot.
Mark said computer cases like shoes, it's a matter of how much you value your feet, in brackets PC lol.
Yeah, I suppose that is very true actually. They are, yeah, I suppose actually that does make a good correlation, yeah. Your PC case is basically like your shoes. I'm one of those people where I wouldn't spend more than probably 40 or 50 quid on a pair of trainers these days, whereas other people will go out and buy a pair of Nike Air Jordans for maybe 100, 150 pounds.
Also,
I guess that sums it up perfectly.
You're doing like mid-range components with it,
Yeah,
aren't you? So
I'm not a track runner. I'm not playing basketball. I'm not out playing football. So it's basically just something to protect my feet from the harsh Bristol weather.
especially in the bathroom.
Especially in the bathroom. Matt Gamers says, cool, thank you. Welly Wobbs' focus is a bit off. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Next week we've got happy times. We have got the Sony ZVE10 coming, which I've decided, as good as the Lumix camera is for proper video work, if you're actually a filmer or a photographer or a videographer, it's a bloody good camera. But for me, I just want something which I can just point it in a direction and it will do everything for me. I don't want to mess around with ISOs. I don't want to mess around with shutter speeds. I don't want to be playing with depth of focus and all that kind of stuff. I've got more than enough to be thinking about on my plate, thank you very much. So, although the camera is good and in some situations is extremely easy to use, the Sony ZVE10 is basically a vlogger's and filmer's dream. There's about 5 buttons on the whole camera and one of those is on and off, so it's going to be very easy to use in theory. So yeah, that's the only button I'm allowed to press, Kath says. I've got to leave it in auto mode and just... There is one button I will press, which is product mode. You press the button called product mode, and if I, say for instance, we're filming like this with the Sony ZVE10, and I'm doing this, blah, blah, if I go like that, it will automatically focus on it, rather than still focusing on my head, like it is.
You've got such a prominent head there.
So Kath's not going to have to scroll forward and press the shutter. There we go, focus eventually. So now I take it back. And there we go. Yeah. So I'm fed up of that. It's fine for most purposes. We've done really well with it over the years, so it's time that at least some of the workload is removed from both Kath and myself, so we can concentrate on actually doing the filming rather than me keep on looking over to this screen. Am I in focus? Who knows? It's ridiculous. So yeah, hopefully that won't be the case for much longer. Matthew Day says, is the monitor made of pure Chinesium? I would have thought so. There isn't a lot that doesn't come out of China these days. Hopefully it's not from Wuhan. Am I allowed to say that? Sorry, YouTube. Actually, it doesn't say. Oh, it does, yeah, made in China. Well spotted. This is pure Chinesium. We'll have a look at that, definitely in a minute. Skystalker says, I have more if anyone needs one. They keep sending them to me. Japan 1 says, still out of focus. I'll ignore that because it's, yeah. This time next week, that won't be a thing.
Hopefully.
Ricardo says, is it me or is Mike blurring? I am probably blurring also, but yeah, it's the camera. I don't know what it is. I think over time as well, the autofocus has actually got worse. I don't know whether it's because I keep on changing settings on the damn thing and changing lighting styles. I think that possibly is part of it. But like I said,
if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it.
I can't be arsed with it anymore. It's not going to happen, so we're going to change. Wargame says, I'm colourblind, so I'm out of luck on the RAM. Fair dues. Ugly Bob says, I like black. I like my RAM black like my men. Good one, Bob. Doing his bit for race relations. Kenny D, nope, I would only buy white or black. I would only buy coloured RAM if I was going for a very specific colour theme. Yeah, actually, underneath that, Kenny said there, like a Hulk themed PC. Now that itself is a very good, yeah, if you're into your MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or maybe you're into DC, or I don't know, hell, you're into like the Smurfs or something, I don't know, whatever. If you have a specific theme in mind, then something like this is going to be brilliant. Why they made it RGB, I'm not entirely sure, because I suppose you could still have Hulk RAM, have it green with green LEDs. Yeah, that could work. So yeah, that is, it is, I'm sure this RAM is niche as hell, which is probably why I would imagine it'll probably get really good views. Because if you search for green PC parts, I can't imagine there being much out there. So hopefully it will do quite well. Mark Point says, hey Mike, hey Kath, hey everybody. Pierre Plays says, might have to watch in bed. Chest is starting to tighten up. Oh dear. Hopefully not the thing that we're not, the words we're not allowed to use these days. Bandy says, once again, here. Nick Barnes says, even Mike and Kath, typical, I'm late to the party because helping friends sort their printer. This is true, this is true. Ugly Bob says, Bristol white men can't jump. No.
But William Booty pointed out, when I shout out bang, you can.
Yeah, when Kath shouts or screams at me, I jump, that's for sure. Welly Bob says, a good camera, it just needs to work. Yes, it is. It's probably just user error. It is very likely. There's actually, I would say, probability-wise, it's like a 75% chance that everything is user error. Because I know when I first got the G7, which is the lower model of this, one of the guys that I worked with, Stephen, he told me what settings to use, and it looks bloody amazing. But for some reason, I changed the settings and never managed to recreate that that magic that we had. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll find out.
Stephen's watching ever.
Yeah, Stephen, if you're watching, I will give you actual money. So Matthew Day, where we got? David Aitken, £10. Thank you, mate. As we discussed, Ugly Bob, £10. Thank you. Hi, Mike and Kath. Okay, I'm confused, but thank you, thank you very much. Have I done a good thing for David? I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Probably not.
That was Ugly Bob.
I can't remember what I've done.
It's only hi to us.
Yeah, right. Bless you. Oh, I think I understand. I think that's probably got something to do with a headset. Wow. Markovsky says you can get a P900, you can pick them up at a reasonable price now, and the auto features on them are brilliant, plus it doubles up as a super zoom camera. In the early days, I was actually considering a P900 camera, because it's got some crazy, like, is it 300 times zoom on it? So you can take pictures of actual cigarette butts on the moon. I would quite like that.
You did quite a close-up video of the moon once, didn't you?
I did.
Not that
And no one watched it. This swines. Thank you, Ugly Bob. £5 super chat. It says, here's my share, lol. Oh, dear. And who else we got? So, Aletta said, Michael Kemp says, upgraded my CPU from a 1600X to a 3700X. Wow, that's a pretty significant jump. So you've gone with 2 extra cores, 4 extra threads. You've gone from Zen 1 architecture to Zen 2 architecture. And you've gone from a base clock of what, 3.2, I want to say? Or was that the 1600, not the 1600X? Maybe it's a 3.4 to probably what, 4 point something? 3.8, 4.3 boost, possibly? I don't know. I'm so out of touch with CPU specs at the moment, it's ridiculous. Michael Kemp says I spent £43 on an RGB case from eBuyer for my first build. With a B550M Prime motherboard, 750 watt Corsair RGB PSU. RGB PSU, gotta be a thing. 2TB M.2, 1TB hard disk drive, upgraded from 16 gig DDR to 32 gig. Man, that sounds pretty awesome. Dave Hill says, great lighting in your room, no shiny spots on your noggin. Ooh, but it's getting warmer in here again. I think it's the humidity at the moment, because we've had so much rain, and now it's starting to warm up a little bit because we've got a heat wave coming, allegedly. So it's all coming up out of the ground, and it's quite muggy.
Got the window open?
No, sorry, I think it'll be alright. Who else we got? Mark Point, yes, we see that. Mark Point says I got the Corsair 220T, paid more than it for the 4000D airflow. Yeah, the 220T, I'm pretty sure we did review that one a long time ago when it came out. So we were going to use it for George's PC for his upgrade build when he changed over from his NZXT S340. And the 220T, when it came out, it seemed like it had a lot of great features, but it just didn't seem to have enough height for the radiator mount in the top, which was a little bit of a shame. But the 4000D is a criminally good case, it really is. I think that's what George has got now, actually, 4000D. Not sure. I lose track. Alexa says, maybe the RAM is green because it caught the human malware. Potentially it could be. Paul Bakewell says, loads of 7-inch screens on Amazon for Raspberry Pi users. Yeah, that's a good point. Kelvin, my mistake, says, I want a TechWare VXR. It is so cool. TechWare have got a sale on at the moment, so if you go over to Amazon, affiliate links will be provided. The VXR is now, I think, is £62, £63, down from like 90. So there's a pretty heavy saving on that. Yes, it is, yeah.
So what's it called?
It's the TechWare VXR. Thank you, Kath. Kath will put a link in the video in the chat box so you can check it out. Pierre Player says, lol, not the thing, but I do have to poop in a tube and hand over some blood to the docs next week. Oh dear.
Is it H232?
Or maybe they've not got it reduced.
It's reduced down 14%.
No, somewhere else was selling it for... It might have been on eBuyer. I saw it on Facebook, advertised, definitely. Maybe if you go to Facebook, go to TechWare, and I'm sure you'll find there is a discount on that at the moment if you're genuinely interested in it. Dutch Jan's with us as well. Daniel's with us. Mark Point, Demir. Right, actually, this is something which we will definitely talk about actually during tonight's stream. What do you guys think of the new 5600G and the 5700G? I'm in many mixed minds about those processors. My initial reaction was cool. My secondary reaction was that doesn't make sense. I don't see who the 5600 and the 5700G is actually for. There is a very niche marketplace for those processors, but still saying that, they will sell like hotcakes because, hey, it's a processor and it's AMD and it's got built-in GPU. Excuse me. I think they're too expensive is my first thing. The comparisons, I think they've marketed it in a particularly bizarre way. So having the 5600X and the 5600G, the layman, and even possibly not even layman, most people are going to look at that and say, so the X is the overclocked version, the G is the one with built-in graphics, much like with Intel, so like a 10400K, 10400F. You can see the similarities there, and although it's not massively underpowered compared with its X-rated sibling, it's not as good. It's better than the 3600, so if you're going from one to the other, and you've got a graphics card, it makes no sense buying the 5600G at all, because the 5600X is the same price. And in some cases, it's actually been seen cheaper. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. For the mini PC builders, Dave Aitken, if he's building any mini PCs, ITX PCs, and some of the other guys which I know are really into your ITX PCs, Paul Bakewell possibly, the 5600 and the 5700Gs are going to be absolutely spot on for having those built-in graphics, especially for those that don't need hyper level 4K gaming. If it's just for content creation, content consumption and a little bit of light gaming, they can just about get by. But even still, they are weak AF. Compared with even a very low-end graphics card like the RX 550, not even a 5000 series, a 550, that is kind of beating it in most games. And certainly older graphics cards like the 660 Ti, that kind of thing, is going to wipe the floor with it. So, yeah, it's a very weird one. I'm going to be really interested to hear what you guys think about it, actually, being that we have a very diverse kind of viewership. Cosmic Space Muffins says, good evening, late to the party, busy drinking beer with my neighbour. Good on you.
Is the neighbour watching on theirs as well?
Yeah, have you told your neighbour to tune in as well?
Subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Mark Point says, those APU could have been way better. They should have been. I think it was a rushed thing. AMD saw that there was a shortage of GPUs. The Vega stuff is still kind of floating around out there in the ether. Being able to fit it on the die, it made sense, and it filled a very niche market. And also for the OEMs who basically wanted to put a Radeon graphics sticker on the front of their PCs and be able to sell a PC without a graphics card, but say yes, it's a gaming PC. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be disappointed with the performance of those chips. The actual CPU performance is great. It really is good. It's not as good as its 5000 series counterparts, like we said. So it's still a good processor, and they do run very well, but the APU is just very weak still. It's better than Intel's, obviously, but it's still very weak, which is a real shame. Matthew Day says the VXR is $69.89 at scan. Thank you, Matthew. That's the badger. My Custard Love says up. That's a great name. Aletta says APUs have their place. The 3200G is working great in my media writing PC. Yep, 3200G, 2200G, 3400G. If you can pick them up at a decent price, bang on. Get you up and running. Still play some games at half decent resolutions. make a lot of sense. When you're spending almost £300 on an APU-based GPU, I don't know. And we've actually seen here in Bristol specifically, graphics cards are becoming very available. For those of you that tuned in last week, I think I mentioned about the two GTX 1070s I bought and the 1060. The same guy who I bought those off has now listed another whole bunch of those graphics cards today, in fact, and they're not selling that fast. So it seems that there isn't a huge demand now. People are kind of like got back into possibly the kind of the holiday season spirit. So a PC is less important. Some people obviously starting to go back to their workplaces, etc. after the kind of isolation periods, what have you. So maybe the gold rush for GPUs is kind of waning. We've seen as well Scan, I believe, this week. Plenty of 3060s and 3070s and even 3080s as well at not entirely asshole prices. So yeah, things might be getting better, slowly but surely. Pierre says if the price was lower, I would put one in an ITX build and use it as a media center, but it's pricey. Yeah, I'm in exactly the same position. I've got my little IONZ BTX case, or ITX BTX Series B, whatever case it is. I can't remember. BTX, I think it is. Model B1. That's the one. I'll get there in the end. The IONZ B1. I got that in the front room. I very rarely use it. I'll be honest with you, very, very, very rarely. But it's got the 3000G in there, which is doing what it needs to do. And I was looking at the 3400G, which I've got, and thinking, do I put it in there? Is it worth it? And then these other chips come out, which would work perfectly on that B550 ITX motherboard. And it's like, why would I spend £250, £260 on a processor to fit in there, which ultimately still isn't going to play games particularly well? I don't know. It is a very niche thing, like I said.
Unpack some stuff.
Yes, let's have a look. Let's unpack some of this stuff, because otherwise we're going to be here all bloody night. So what?
Budget.
Oh, go on.
Webcam.
What's the budget? What the webcam we're using?
No. What would you suggest for a budget webcam?
For a budget webcam at the moment, see, a budget webcam is a really horrible thing to buy. There's really, really budget ones which are awful. They've got fixed focus and they're generally just not good. The ISO performance, the low light performance, even the audio is absolutely awful. I would say something like this is the Logitech, oh sorry, CAF's not on there. This is the Logitech C920, which is basically the kind of what I would consider the standard thing of being half decent.
On our new bed.
If I switch to this with reasonable light on, there we go. You can see it isn't too bad and it's relatively in focus. It's a little bit fuzzy, I think that's because the lens is dirty. But actually it's not a bad camera. Tracks pretty well, and considering this is now up against the equivalent of like a £500 to £600 mirrorless DLSR camera. So if you look at the difference between the two, obviously it is considerably sharper, but this is about 40 quid and that's about 600 quid. So you can see there is a massive difference, and actually the autofocus is pretty good, so you can swing it around and do stuff, and it probably picks up focus better than the other camera, which is pretty insane. And there's another super chat come in. Ubi dat. Matthew Day, £2 says so many. Matthew Day, what did I say?
You did say.
I said Matthew. Oh, sorry.
You did say
yeah, Matthew Day, £2. Thank you very much. There's so many things tempting me to upgrade. At the moment is, I would say, of the last 18 months or so, I think it's getting to that point now where things are getting good again. Power supplies have started going up in price. We did see a couple of weeks ago a real lull in power supply prices.
a couple of months now.
And yeah, probably is a couple of months actually. But recently I've seen some of the prices go back up. I've been checking the prices on the ones which I've got up here. So I've got that Cooler Master 500 watt gold. I've got the Rampage RPG from Gamemax. I've got the Cylon 700. I've got the EVGA BQ 550 or 650. I'm not sure which it is. Every single one has gone up in price by at least £10 to £15. So that is a sign of the times. The Cylon is probably the one that stayed closest to the low prices, but it always was low price, so no surprise there. Yes, Kath?
Does Bandy have a iPhone? Because you did that.
Yeah.
Where you could use that.
Who asked for the
Bandy?
Bandy? If you've got an iPhone or an Android, you've basically got a webcam there. You can plug in software from Android and also from the iPhone. We did a video on the iPhone one, so Kath's going to put that link in the video description. Actually pretty decent. A little bit tricky to get up and running, and it costs you a couple of dollars, but actually not too bad at all. And you can check out the video and see what you think of the stuff there. If you're going really cheap and you just want to get something up and running, you can pick up webcams on Amazon for, I don't know, 15, 20 pounds. They're going to look rubbish. But if you just want to have an image on the screen and you're not too concerned about how good it looks, it'd be fine. It'd be absolutely fine. But yeah, most mobile phones will do it very, very easily, and probably better than most webcams, to be fair. David Aitken says the biggest temptation at the moment is a £21 A320 motherboard from Scan. Yes, it was the Gigabyte A320 M-K or M-H. I can't remember, one of the two. I also looked at that because I do actually need a micro ATX board at the moment to do a build in, and I was looking around at all the micro ATX boards that I've had in the past, and I want one which I haven't had previously. And when I saw that one at £21, I was thinking, because I know the A320 motherboards, especially the micro ATX ones, are still massive, massive sellers in India and places like that. They really, really are. They sell tons of the things, and I can tell by the video, light's gone out. I can tell by the video views, kind of demographics and locations. So A320 boards and lower end B450 boards, the guys over in India absolutely slapping that stuff up because they can get good deals on it, and also some of the other sort of higher end stuff has massive import taxes and stuff, so they just pick up the cheaper stuff because obviously it makes more financial sense. They can still get up and running, build their PCs. So there is still a massive market for A320. I was thinking to myself the other day that A320 is essentially dead, but it's not. It's still got a lot of life in it, and it's still selling massively. So yeah, I was also very tempted as well.
Matthew Day said the one that he got that you broke one off is pretty good.
Oh yeah, that wasn't bad actually.
That was a Shop Smart one, wasn't it?
I think it was. What? Sorry, what was that? I missed that.
Nothing.
Oh, was you winding your PC up? Sorry, William Bodie says, I'm sorry I can't send money. Is it okay if I send my Zotac 1060 6GB to you too? Yes, fine. Yeah, we'll make use. Actually, I've got a EVGA 1060 3GB, and I'm actually very interested to see how they compare against each other, whether or not the extra 3 gigs makes a difference. I'm sure it does, because I think there is a bigger difference between the two. So the 3GB one, I think, had a smaller bandwidth as well, like a 128-bit bus rather than 192 or whatever it was. Anyway, Ordinary Dude, here in the US, the release of the 5600G has driven the price of the 5600X down also. Yeah, that does seem to be what it's done here as well. Cosmic Space Muffin says, but it's a gigabyte though. Yeah.
Cody Level.
Welly Bob says the PC's gone into California mode. Sorry, Cody Level. Is the 600 watt PSU good enough for the i5 10400 and the Gigabyte GTX 1660 Super? Yes. 600 watts, fine. Even an unbranded one would do it. I would suggest ideally going for something with at least a bronze rating. If you can, a gold rating, because, well, they're better and more efficient. Andrew Mikhail, 5600, 4650G or the latter, definitely. Yeah, if you're looking at a 4650G or a 5600G or a 3600 and a 1660 Super, yeah, the 1660 Super and the 3600 will still rock pretty much anything you want to throw at it. Obviously, If you're looking at 4K gaming, it's going to struggle with that, but you might have to reduce some settings. But 1080p, 1440p gaming, yeah, it's going to be absolutely fine. William says, I'll ask tomorrow on Facebook where to send it. Okay.
Do it on email.
Awesome. Yeah, if you can, do it on an email.
We don't really look at Facebook much.
I don't Facebook a lot. There you go. There's the email address. Ping me an email address and we can sort something out. That'd be awesome. There's a bloody fly in here. God damn it. I kill you. Right, let's unbox some of this stuff, because otherwise I'm going to be here till crazy o'clock. Right, what should we start with? Let's have a look at this monitor. I'm intrigued with this. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to actually physically power it up due to the fact that I'm using pretty much every single port on my laptop as it is, but we'll see what we can do.
Andrew McNeil is not writing anything wrong, but it's censoring his messages.
All right. Yeah, Andrew, for some reason your comments are being stopped. Right, how can I do this? Right. So inside the box for the little monitor here, so there's a driver disc, which always fills me with fear, although we shouldn't need that. There is a USB, what is that? A micro USB cable. I haven't got my my Sony camera yet, so I can't show you that. Also comes with the world's smallest HDMI cable. Wow, that is small. That's actually quite handy for something. I can't think what I needed it for, but I did need that for something.
On your head like a headband.
No, you couldn't even make it into a wrist strap. Well, actually, yeah, you could. that is the cheap way of the manufacturers saying it has an HDMI cable included.
Does it touch ear to ear?
I don't think it does. Oh, actually, yeah.
Above your head.
It's a chin strap. Doesn't quite touch ear to ear. Oh, it does actually, just about.
If you moved your ears on.
Also comes with a bunch of clips. So it's like no, for you know, like when you in your car, you got the air vents. So it's like air vent clips, so you could put the monitor actually onto the air clips in your car, like you would like an air freshener and stuff like that. Got a little dinky screwdriver. It's pretty cool. And included is a micro USB.
Sky says you only need one USB closest to the HDMI.
There we go. There is the HDMI to micro HDMI, which actually we do use a lot of in here because all of the cameras have got mini HDMI, so we use that to output.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes. Thank you, Cal. So I only need to use apparently one of the USBs on here. What are the other ones for then? Be interested. So that is the monitor. Got a protective film on the front as well. Does this actually touch screen from what I can tell? Got a little screen protector going on there.
Oh, Maisie liked that.
Maisie, do you like that?
She likes ASMR.
Got quite a chunky bezel to it, but that's understandable because it's ultimately it's a screen inside of a very small unit. If you were to compare it with a monitor, then you'd say it was extremely thin. But because it's obviously in a condensed format, it appears to be a little bit more chunky. But chunky is good because that means it's less likely to break. So you can put the feet, from what where are we? These must slot in. Can I go all the way in? I'm going to break this now. Ah. And that way round. So it's got little feet which slot in there, so you can have it kind of desk mounted. Although, if you have it desk mounted for the touch screen, it might be a bit... Actually, yeah, it is moving around a little bit, so you might want to put some something a little bit sticky or a bit of rubber, or maybe put it on a mouse mat. Let's get the other camera on there. So there we go. Let's angle that down a little bit. So connectivity wise, nothing on that side, nothing on the top. And on this side we've got all the go-ins on. So we've got a full size, wrong finger, we've got a full size HDMI. Next to that we've got micro USB, another micro USB. And next to that there looks to be, I can't even see what it is actually, is that a switch of some sort? Come on, focus. Yeah, it looks like some sort of settings switch. Not sure what that is. Sky, any input? Input. Ugly Bob says, I reckon Mike would have been great on the Krypton Factor. I always wanted to go on there. Damn it. Right, what is that little flip switch on the side for? Because it doesn't appear to be anything written on there. Or is it a reset? No, it is actually a switch. Oh, see above. There is a switch to turn off the screen backlight. Alright, okay. Why would you want to turn off the backlight? Okay. Right, I'm going to unplug HDMI. Has that killed the stream? No, it's just transferred onto there. That's good. So I can plug this into here.
You probably read all that, sorry. There's a switch to turn off the screen backlight. You read all that,
yeah? Yeah, that is, yeah, that was a little bit of a... I suppose if you wanted to save energy or something, if it was in like standby or something. So, where is the connections? So, the HDMI nearest to the... Can't see the screen now. That's the thing, if you unplug your monitor, you're screwed. So that goes... Yeah, there's a bit of a delay. That would be proper Krypton Factor. Actually, no, you don't need the micro USB, do you? Or the micro HDMI. So you may be an idiot. So I powered up and it says no signal. Come on. There we go. And if we plug in that HDMI.
I hope no one's got travel sickness.
Yeah, sorry about the travel sickness, ladies and gents. There we go. I wonder if this is going to plug and play. Wow, there we go. That is actually a really cool display. Yeah, do the peel. Oh, that is a little bit... What's going on here? Oh, that's right in there. Oh, there we go. Right. Oh crap. I got to be careful now because this is a touchscreen, isn't it? So, can I actually move? Oh, yes, I can. I can move the windows around. Oh my days. That is actually quite responsive as well. What the actual F? That is brilliant. I like it. Right, I'm gonna plug the monitor back in to my my desktop here, I think, because otherwise I'm gonna press something and I'm definitely gonna lose the stream. I can see that happening. And is that gonna go back up? Bear with me a second, ladies and gentlemen. And let's put my windows back up over here. And that one can go there. Ooh, what's gone on there? The text has gone bizarre. Let's zoom to 100%. That looks even worse. I've really broken this. Oh, Windows scaling, I suppose. Oh. Right, so probably not the best of ideas to do that during a stream because I can't see now what is going on at all. Actually, I'm going to close that window altogether and start again. Sorry, do talk amongst yourselves. I would love to be able to converse directly with you, but sadly I can't because I can't see what's going on. So, there's Cameron. I will be with you momentarily. Don't forget, in the comment section, I want to hear about your thoughts on the 5600 and 5700G. Because I'm still I quite want one to actually see what they're like, but I don't think at the current price they make a whole ton of sense. And you think the Ryzen 5 3400G, when that first came out, I'm sure that was like £150. And at the time then, people were like, no, that doesn't make sense. Because it was up against the Ryzen 5 2600, which was a far, far better processor. So it's kind of like £100 dearer.
How much was the screen?
I honestly don't know how much the screen is. It was a gift from Skystalker, so I honestly couldn't tell you.
But it would be Canadian.
Sky can tell you, but it would be in Canadian rupees, unfortunately, so you'd have to work it out. Dwayne King says, hi Mike, how you doing? Skystalker says, I have 5 more the company sent me. Why? They were all returns. Oh dear. Paul Bagel says, these screens are normally low quality picture, but that looks good. Yeah, it did actually look surprisingly surprisingly sharp. I'm trying to think what I've got here with HDMI on it, which I can quickly plug into it to see what it's like. Other than my laptop, which is currently running the stream, because that could get a bit weird. Actually, have I got a long enough HDMI? No, I think the long HDMI I've got is actually plugged in between there and there. Kath, remind me on Monday to order an HDMI cable from Amazon, please. Because I'm always doing that. I get every week I get to. Sorry.
What about your mobile?
What about it?
I don't know. I'd be Bob's put that in, but I don't know if it's even to you.
Oh yeah, my mo. Oh no, actually, can I? No, I haven't got a cable to go from my iPhone to there.
He did actually say Mollaby.
I'll plug it into some wallabies.
Mollaby.
Yeah, David, I'm not too sure. You have to see what Skystalker says.
Ugly Bob's.
Oh, Ugly Bob has found it.
Link, but I put our affiliate link.
Let's have a look. Is that the same one? Oh yeah, it is, yeah. No, that's not it, because that's not got the plastic case around it. It's the same model, but that's without the external casing by the look of it. So that's the bare version. So let's see if...
or the computer behind you.
Yeah, I was thinking, actually, the... Looking at it, that case, this case, could actually be able to hold a Raspberry Pi in the back of it as well.
It is for a Raspberry Pi.
Maybe that's what those screws are there for, so you can screw the Pi straight to it. I've always fancied a Raspberry Pi, but I don't know what I'd use it for. But for a desktop, for like a bedside nightlight stroke YouTube consumption thing, and also to look at things like the IMU cameras that we've got, because they've got an app which I could run within Raspberry Pi, so I could monitor my my security cameras, maybe in a quad layout. That is potentially another really cool use of it. And if I put on a right-angled HDMI connector, so it would be looking like that. Is there anything left in there? I'll have a swig of that, sorry. Sorry everybody, I'm going to have a quick swig. They got you in the reflection on there, Kath.
Oh, God's sake.
Stop moving around, they can see you. I'll try and angle it away.
I've got to look at my monitor now and I've gone into it again. Oh.
Sorry about that. So yeah, the that would be a really good use case scenario for it. Get some right-angled USBs, get right-angled HDMI connector on the side there, and that would be kind of flush on the side, so they wouldn't have cables sticking out. Which, in the end of the world anyway, really. But for those that like the more kind of pleasing look, for me, for the monitor for the side of the cabinet there, that's going to be fine. And in fact, a right-angled one would probably make it harder to route the cables. Although I might have to put it that side rather than that side because of the angle. I suppose you could put it that way and just twist the display. Either way. Yeah, it's going to be some fun trying to work out what and how to get that all to work in there. It's something that I've meaning to do for so long. Actually, David Aitken, who is possibly still in the stream if he's not had a few too many of those, ages ago he said, I've got an old 15-inch monitor if you want it. It's no use to me, I'm going to chuck it out kind of thing. Like, do you want it? It's like, yes, that'd be brilliant. I was going to try and put a 15-inch monitor on there, but looking at it, even with taking it all apart, it's yeah, it was just one of those things which I don't think I could have dealt with. So yeah, it was one of those things that just got put off and put off and put off. But now this is actually quite a unique challenge, and actually might make an interesting video. So we'll try and do that. Captain Me's Adventure says you could make that screen a little retro game machine with a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, that is. There's so many potential things with this. I will actually do like a proper review of this as well, so you can see what the actual quality is like. And hopefully I'll have my Sony camera, so I'll be able to actually focus on it without it going slightly mad. But that is very, very cool. Potentially it might actually have a speaker in the back, I'm not too sure. Sky, could you confirm that? Is that, there's a vent on the back, is there a speaker built into this as well? Does it actually have an output for audio? I'm also wondering now what the other USB is for. Because the touchscreen seems to work without the other one plugged in, so what is the other USB for? Maybe programming of some sort, but I don't know. Interesting stuff. Anyway, fantastico. We like that a lot. So I think we better open up some stuff, and I think we should do at least one of the cases, because that was what was on the thumbnail, and otherwise the viewers will be upset and they'll unsubscribe and they'll cry in the chat. Say, I watched the video, you had a thumbnail on there for those IONZ cases, and you never even took it out of the box, you lazy Bristol bastard. That is probably exactly what they'll say. Maisie, can I move you a minute? Sorry. Maisie does love a good cat box. Oh no, that's not even the right case. Sorry Maisie, I moved your sorry backside. Get back on there! Ah, typical. It's underneath the bloody desk. Oh my god! Right, so IONZ being IONZ, there has been literally no expense spared on the old packaging there, as you can see. So this is the IONZ. This is Pro. Was I say Pro Gamer? You're having a laugh, aren't you? Pro Gamer, the 3503F, and it is the Taiyo.
Exactly that.
I think Taiyo. Yes, fine, thank you. I think Taiyo, if I'm not mistaken, is Japanese for either the moon, the sun, or water. It's one of those three. I'm sure it means one of those three. Maybe someone can look it up on the Tinterwebs and see what it actually is. But I'm sure it's one of those three. It's one of the elements anyway, I'm sure it is. It might be wind, but I try to avoid that.
Probably. You're not very good at doing that.
So on the side of the box you can see specifications. And if you can't, that's because the camera's shite. So the purchase order number, that's interesting. Imported into the UK by IONZ, Unit 3, Butte House, Arran, Road, Perth, Scotland, PH1 3DZ. So if you're in Scotland and you want to help support local companies, then reach out to IONZ. They have actually got a new website, which is going to be pcgamingcases.co.uk. So you can head over there. I'm going to speak to the guys over there and see if we can work out some kind of discount structure for Mike's Unboxing viewers. Because not only do they do IONZ cases, PC Gaming Cases, the company, actually they're the primary importer of IONZ cases into the UK. But they also do basically pretty much most of the other ones on the market. So they do Corsair, they do NZXT, they do Cooler Master, Corsair, I think I've said that already. Basically, yeah, they do cases. So they've got a massive warehouse full of cases, and they do some pretty good prices as well. So we'll see what we can do there. So dimensions wise, 215 by 490 by 405 millimeters. In inches, that is, you'll have to find out for yourself because I don't know.
Taiyo means sun in Japanese.
It means sun. I said sun, didn't I? I knew it was one of them. Cartoon dimensions, you don't really care. The weight is 5.8 kilos, so not particularly heavy. The case and everything all in, 6.8. And that is pretty much all you need to know there. So that is the dimensions. I think on the, yeah, this is the important side.
Does that little monitor have a better mate?
No, it doesn't. No.
It wasn't low on the end.
Yeah, wish it did, that'd be great. Can I zoom in on that a little? Yeah, there we go. Look, focused on it. Bastard brown boxes. Right, so it takes ATX, micro ATX, mini ATX motherboards. Why would they, I know that they say it will do it, but why would you want to? Anyway.
Eddie's in Scotland and ordered one of their cases.
Oh, nice one, Eddie. So cooling fan support, we got the front has got two 200mm fans built in. As I said, addressable RGB included. You can, if you want to, you can put three 120s or three 140mm fans in the front. So that opens up a whole host of possibilities. And in fact, I've been waiting on a case where I can put three 140s in front because ages ago, those lovely, lovely, lovely people over at IMWIN sent me, or sent us rather, sorry, I should say. It's not very politically correct, is it? They sent us the IMWIN Saturn 3-pack, that was it the ASN 140s, and also a 3-pack of the 120s. And I've not found a case yet where I can use all 6 fans at the same time. So this is going to be a bloody great, perfect opportunity because I can put 3 140s up front, I can put 2 120s in the top and a single 120 in the rear, and this thing is going to blow like a New York hooker. Absolutely brilliant. Am I allowed to say that?
Better than Bob's blower, he said.
It's, yeah, Bob's blower. I'll tell you, actually, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this out the gate straight away. Actually, I'll get on camera for this because you've got to see the look on my face.
You're a bit big.
I am a bit big. Good old Bob, bless his cotton socks, he bought himself a blower. So he paid good money to get a blower, as most men of a certain age do. But he sent me the blower first, so Bob gets sloppy seconds, sadly. But I did have the privilege of trying it out on Kath. So I gave Kath a good blower. And out in the garden, actually, on camera. So you guys will get the benefit of watching that in the next few days. So it's actually quite a funny little video that we made there. Basically, it's an air duster for PCs. It's mains powered, but the thing has got some serious power. Now, Kath's PC, I will be completely upfront, it was horrific.
But the cats love me.
I deliberately didn't clean it for a long, long time. I've left it uncleaned, probably well before Christmas. So probably the best part of a year. I've given it the occasional wipe over the front, and that is about it. Inside, I've basically left it entirely as it was.
And the cats love me.
The cats love Kath, and Kath's PC is right next to the window. So obviously we've had the window open, it's been summertime, there's lots of pollen, dust, dirt, cat hairs, you name it, it's all been sucked into that PC because Kath's PC is the Gamemax F15, which, as you know, is a soft spot in my heart for that case. So yeah, we took it into the garden and used Bob's blowing utensil and gave it a good clean. And actually, I was a little bit hesitant whether or not I actually thought that an air duster was a good idea. For £60 or £50 or whatever it was, it's kind of like, well, you can buy 6 cans of air duster canister for like £13. So like £2 a can if you're buying in slightly more bulk. Yes, it's not so good for the environment. I guess it's cheaper in the long run, depending on how much you use it. But I did not realise how much fun it was to get an expensive blower in my case. I really didn't. It was really good fun. We did some slow motion out in the garden and blew out a ton of dust from it. And actually, surprisingly, I didn't need to get out the big guns. I didn't need to get out the fairy liquid, all that kind of stuff. I didn't need to get out the dusting, the good old favourite, the old paint brush to get into the fans to clean off all the dust and dirt. Surprisingly, that air duster has got so much power, it actually done the same job that this would have done. So it is absolutely brilliant. And it comes with a great attachment as well, which looks like a bizarre kind of toothbrush, but it blows air through it as well. So it gets right into it. So definitely next week, check out the video. If you're looking for an easy way of cleaning your PC and you want to have a bit of fun with it as well, yeah, it's excellent. It's so powerful, it is ridiculous. It really is. It's actually dangerously fast.
Powerful.
Yeah, it is. like I've seen air dusters, those compressed air cans, they're okay. But this mains power thing is 500 watts. I would say it's
Your
very,
hair's
very...
flying, wasn't it, with it?
Yeah, I had hair before I started the video. Literally, gone. I'm gonna
Now the tree in the background's got hair.
I'm gonna put an industrial injury against Bob for losing my my mohawk and my my fro. Anyway, moving on. So yeah. It was I would say it's equivalent power to a compressed air line in a garage. It's not far off it. It really isn't. Right, let's try and break this before I've actually reviewed it properly. Sorry, headphone users. Oh, I'm gonna get electric shock now, aren't I? No, I'm right. If you're someone who takes a PC out of a case now and then, and you're used to this, it never ever gets any better when you take your PC out of the case and it's just got all that static, and you touch the frame and you get that shock. There must be a way of getting around that. Someone's probably gonna say, well, you should have a isolating bloody band thing on. And yep, you're probably right, I should. But I haven't. Because I'm a real man.
Fun in that.
Where's the fun in not getting electrocuted?
What, you might get electrocuted on the travelator at IKEA.
I did, yeah. Right, I'm not sure how reflecto porn this is going to be for Kath, so... There she is, everybody.
Can you see it?
I can see you.
No.
Sat in your chair, swiveling around.
No.
There she is, ladies and gents. Oh shit, electric shock. Instant karma. Oh, feck. And again.
Oh, Bob says I'm flipping gorgeous.
Oh, she is gorgeous.
You're talking about the case.
Oh, the case, you dick. Right, I'm going to take the side panel off. So, obviously, you can tell it's a tempered glass side panel. No real surprises there. It's a very light smoke tint. Actually,
I was talking about the case. He was talking about Cosmic's beer.
Oh, let's see. Let's see what the tint is like. Yeah, the tint on the glass is almost nothing. So, very clear tint. I like that. And it's got gaskets around the outside edge, which is all good. Actually, only on the top, it seems, not the bottom. Anyway, the key selling point of this is look it. Is that or is that not an impressive looking front case panel? Yeah, you can turn right now. That ticks a lot of boxes for me. It really does. There you go. And looking inside, we have got some absolutely excellent features. So I'm going to turn on the other light just to get a bit of light inside there, because the camera doesn't handle low light very well. I'm really giving it to the Lumix today, aren't I?
Just trying to convince yourself.
I am convincing myself. So as you can see, we have got in the bottom, got room for a radiator up here, so you can put a 360mm rad. Got a nice ventilated area here, and something which I am particularly fond of. I love seeing this on PC cases. That is, there's a cutout just here. I'm not sure if you guys can get that.
200mm fans.
200mm fans on the front, yeah. That cutout there is the perfect place to have for a graphics card. This is what I like, when a company takes kind of a look at what a gamer is going to do in a PC case. So what does a gamer want from a PC case? Well, you want easy wiring. That's one of the things that you want, because you want to spend your time gaming less than you want to spend your time building. Yes, building PC is bloody great fun. We all love it. That's why we're all here. But ultimately, we prefer actually using the PCs than trying to get the wire scale where we want them to. So just things like that, the little cutout there, so you can run a nice cable straight up into the graphics card. Perfect. I like it. I like it a lot. That was Dumb and Dumber, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Captain Meat's Adventures says there's lots of holes to fill.
Yes. So 3 cutouts at the back, so HD audio, USB 2, possibly USB 3 if you're on an MSI motherboard. There's no rubber grommets on this side section, which, to be honest with you, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I couldn't care less for rubber grommets. Yes, if you've got them, great. If you don't have them, it's not the end of the world. Most of the time these days we're using power supplies with blacked out cables, like flat black licorice style cables. So when you've got the back panel on, there's no light coming through, so you can't see them anyway. And really, if you're spending your time looking at grommets for cabling, then yeah, you're missing the whole point of what is actually physically inside your PC rather than what is holding the cables in place. Other than that,
reason for white LED being on where the PSU is?
where to?
I don't know.
No
Maybe
idea.
that's their computer.
Oh, not sure, sorry. So fan wise on the front, actually let's have a look at that. So we've got this real absolute blindingly great mesh on the front. I love this. Those angles down the side just give it a little touch of class, I think. Having a flat mesh panel on the front is a little bit sucky, isn't it? There's no real thought or design gone into it. Whereas this, you've got some angled sections there and they taper out towards the bottom. It gives you that kind of illusion of there being quite a scoop to the front, which there is, but it's maybe probably between the top and the bottom, there's maybe less than ½ inch difference. So it's not as if it's like it's really coming out at you at the bottom. It just looks really nice. Subtle, yes, that's the word I was thinking of, I think. So plenty of decent mesh there, and also if you want to, if you're going to a fancy dress party, you can always go as Deirdre Rashid from Coronation Street. Oh, Ken! Absolutely brilliant. So plenty of room in there. I'm gonna try, as I always say, and I always try to do, I'm gonna try and get those damn Noctua 200mm fans in here. I don't think it's gonna happen, because there isn't a case that exists, I don't think, that those Noctua 200mm fans fit in. But I certainly would like to give those a go. Which also leads me to the fact that putting the 3 140s in there also kind of goes against the grain a little bit, because those are mental. Those are mental fans, they really are. I love 200mm fans. I think there's something quite magical about them. I always have done ever since the Antec 900, which had the big one on the top. I've always liked having 200mm fans, just because they can spin that much slower.
Size isn't everything.
Size isn't everything, exactly. It's what you do with it that matters. And what they've done with this, I think, is they've done particularly well. So we've got exactly the same fans in here, in look and size, as the Gamemax F15 and also the Lianli 215, and obviously probably countless others which have taken that design and run with it themselves. The one thing we don't have on this is the same level of control. So these fans have got, bizarrely, they're all kind of linked together on one cable. So the two front fans and the rear fan are all linked on one cable, which is powered into a single Molex connector, which it kills me to say it, it really does. But saying that, I have connected it up already, so I know what they're like. It's not that loud. They run fine. There is also a digital RGB pass-through as well, so you can plug it in to a motherboard to control them. There's a LED button on the top which you can press, clicky button, to cycle through the lighting as well. So there's no control over the fan speed is what I'm basically saying. So they're not fixed RGB, but they're very close. So they're a single static speed. They're not overly loud, but that is reflected in the price. So this case at the moment, as it stands, with the two 200mm fans, the 120 in the back, and that just really nice design, £46 here in the UK, £46.99. And I think I've seen it once or twice slightly cheaper. So at just over £40 for a case, this is the sort of thing which builders are going to buy because it looks cool AF. I think it does. It's down to the individual, obviously, it's a very personal thing. I think it just looks really, really nice. It is essentially a Lianli 215, although it is a shorter version, so it's more compacted, so it doesn't take up as much room. And there's a couple of other features which aren't quite as nice. So on the back, I've got the option for vertical mounting GPU, but these are all captive panels. So if you bend them out, that's it, they're gone. The top one here is removable. Sadly, the others are all the bend out ones. So there has been corners cut. There definitely has. if you think that the Gamemax F15 is about £60 when it's on discount, the Lianli 215 has been around about the same price, although has jacked back up again to about 80. So for £46, including postage here in the UK, this is good. This is really good. You can as well mount in the top 240 or 280mm rad. You've got loads of room between the motherboard standoff there and the top of the case. In fact, actually, I'll give that a quick measure because I was kind of curious.
It's only available from Amazon UK, but it is available on. I think it's got free international shipping on.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's free international shipping on eBay, and also it is on Amazon UK currently.
But no other Amazons.
So currently, yeah, there is just under, or just over 65mm, which is about 2.5 inches between the top of the mesh here and the motherboard mounting. Sorry. So yeah, it is there. There's a ton of room there between the top and the actual first motherboard standoff. So even thicker, chunkier radiators like the the Arctic Freezer 2 range, the 240, 280s, they're going to go in there easy, and it is offset as well a little bit, so you shouldn't have any issues with VRMs, that kind of stuff. It is slightly narrower, I think, than the Gamemax and the Lianli again, so it's narrower and shorter, so it's a more compact version of it, but essentially it's got all the same features. You've got a little bit of extra gap on the top there, which is always a good sign because it means there's a bit of room between the top and the fan there. Of course, you've got the 120mm fan built in, and if we take a look at the back, there's a reasonable amount of cable management room, so there's probably about a good inch, and captive screws on the back panel, which not really a big deal, but on a case this cheap, and it is cheap. I'm not going to say it's cost effective because it isn't. It's just cheap. This is a cheap case. On the top, usual deal, got the removable magnetic filtration. On the back, lots of easy access. Got the main cable bunch here, and then you've got all the RGB nonsense, which effectively just ends in the Molex, which is a little bit of a downer, but ultimately at the end of the day you can still pass it through to the addressable RGB on the motherboard, so
Dutch Jam will say that
it's something you ain't got to worry about.
Molex can handle more wattage.
This is true, Molex can handle more wattage, and it's not the end of the world to use a Molex, I don't think. I genuinely don't. Excuse me. Accessories?
Styling knobs. Pro is rather similar in design, but has a glass front panel instead.
Oh, right. I'll have to have a look at. There are going to be a lot of copies of this. This is also based on the same chassis as a lot of the cases from eBuyer at the moment, such as the Neutron Labs. Neutron Labs kind of is the same thing as IONZ. They're two companies completely separate, but essentially, I think it's possibly Jones Bow is the original manufacturer for these cases. They make them and sell the designs basically to other companies. So it might be someone else, but it's someone of that kind of nature. In the bottom, we've got a nice removable caddy for hard drives, so you can put two 3.5-inch drives in there, or you can put a 2.5 on the top, 3.5 on the bottom. Rubber grommets on there, which just pushes in and just slots in, push in, slot it forward, and that's it, you're done. So it's a quick release caddy. I like that, I think that's a great idea. Normally on a case this cheap, you'd be at least expecting to see a couple of screws on the bottom, but yeah, no, it's all completely quick release. You can, if you want to, put a couple of screws in the bottom to secure it in transit, that sort of thing, but you don't necessarily have to. So yeah, I think this is, I think this offers a lot. I would genuinely do. When I saw it, first of all, I was like, wow, that's good value for money. The fan side of things is, I'll be straight, the fan side of things isn't ideal. I would have much preferred to have seen PWM control, separate addressable RGB connectors for each fan, possibly even an included hub, but clearly we haven't got that. And at this price point, I think that's perfectly excusable. These are going to be absolutely fine for cooling. If you wanted to, it's going to be easy to change the fans out.
Does it cut any fingers?
It probably will do.
You did get your finger stuck in those.
All the edges are fine. Yeah, that damage there to my finger was actually, I got my finger caught in one of these fans because they were spinning, and I put my finger near it, and yeah, it caught me. I did ruffle a little bit. Kath ruffled more. I didn't ruffle that much.
It was quite loud.
It did make a hell of a noise actually.
It flew across the roof.
Yeah. With the case, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to sell it for IONZ, because personally I couldn't care less if you buy it from them or not. It makes no makes no difference to me. I don't make any money on any sales, so I'm just saying as it is. The layout of the case itself and the actual structural rigidity is all good. The layout, the option for loads of fans, it's got some pretty decent cutouts, and actually if you look inside there, you can see there isn't a great deal blocking the fans, so you're going to get a lot of air through there.
Cosmic did say the fans are rubbish. You're losing 25% of the airflow somewhere.
But they're not.
These fans are stupid. 25% are blocked.
These aren't. What can I say? They've cut out a lot of the metal, which was in the Lian Li 215, and also the Gamemax as well, which had a lot more metal going on and was kind of almost straight down there. So they did block off a lot more. There is some of the fans which are blocked off, I'll be completely honest. There is some of it. But...
So no RGB if you don't have an ARGB motherboard?
Yes, you do get RGB regardless of if you've got an RGB motherboard. So that is what I was coming to. It comes with these fans. Yes, it would have been nice to have PWM control, but ultimately they're going to push a ton of air. I would much rather have a case which has got a very good structural design and flexibility. So, like say for instance this against maybe something like the Corsair 220T, for example, which we talked about earlier. Now that is a real struggle to get a radiator in the top section in the 220T, whereas this, absolutely fine, goes in straight away. So there's limitations to other cases which may have better fans as standard, but fans you can change. Case is a solid structure. You can cut things out of it, you can mod it, but ultimately most people will just buy a case because this is what they want to build in. If you're buying a case based on the fans that are included, that's a fool's game. It really is, because ultimately fans fail and they can be replaced. So why buy a case which has got inherent flaws or defects or whatever you want to call it, just because it comes with some really cool fans? I don't know, I'm just saying as I personally think it is. I've bought and reviewed a lot of cases, and quite often I fall into the same trap, and I think that was my initial thing when I pulled this out and I looked at the Molex counter. I was like, oh bloody hell, why? But then
you didn't think it. You said it out loud.
I did say it out loud quite a lot. I was quite disappointed. But then on reflection, I thought, well, actually, most people have got fans or will upgrade fans or buy fans or whatever. Fans aren't for life. They don't last a great deal of time, whereas the chassis itself can do, which I think is a kind of a better place to be with it. Anyway, I'm going to get the power supply out now and we'll fire this up so you can see what it's like. Motherboard wise, this will take eATX, it will take ATX, and it will take micro ATX, and it will take ITX, so basically everything on the market. eATX isn't a kind of a defined standard as such, so there might be some eATX motherboards out there on the market which won't fit, but in general the sort of ones which are just slightly extended ATX or larger ATX can be absolutely fine. Right, let's put a couple of screws in this power supply. I'll tell you, this weekend has been absolute, we have slogged our guts out because we've been having other things going on. Not weekend. Oh yeah, week I suppose, yeah. When it comes to filming on Friday night, or Friday day, from the early morning through till late at night, we managed to do 5 videos, was it, Kath? Yeah. So 5 videos and edited 3 in one day, and even even up until probably a few hours ago, I actually felt physically like I'd been run over or dazed and confused kind of thing. It was really, really tough. But it was one of those things where I was trying to make a series of videos. And what we've done is we've made a kind of like a masterclass video of how to install AMD processors and coolers. And the video itself worked out to be about 3/4 of an hour long. So this is like a very, very basic beginner's guide, going from the very first thing of your motherboard, putting the processor in, making sure the clips are in, and then fitting pretty much every type of CPU fan imaginable on the motherboard. So there's some tips and tricks on how to remove coolers when they're stuck, because the paste is solidified and all that kind of stuff.
Can't get through.
So yeah, we basically went through everything. So I don't think we left anything unanswered, apart from we didn't go into water cooling. So I thought that was probably a bit too advanced for the kind of viewers that it was intended for. So then after I'd done it and edited it, I then figured out that actually there's going to be a lot of people who are going to not be able to digest that amount of information in one go.
Don't talk when you're making noises.
Sorry, I'm making noises. So what I come up with after is I thought what I'll do is I can use segments of those videos with different introductions and different endings and a few other little tweaks in them, and then I can use them as smaller cut down versions. So there is going to be a whole bunch of videos coming out which are all very similar in nature regarding fitting fans, etc.
They love in that PSU.
It's horrendous, isn't it?
We use it for contrast.
Yeah, it is deliberately used for contrast so you can see where the wires and stuff go.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah, you can. Scarred for life. So yeah, there is going to be 5 or so videos coming out which are all very samey, but we are trying to kind of get back to our roots a little bit, which we started out this channel with trying to help people and give people information on how to do stuff, and probably the more simple stuff. So we're not looking at advanced stuff, although we will at some point, but just trying to get back to the roots of helping people that are struggling with their IT and maybe they've bought a motherboard. And we see it all the time on the Discord where people come on and they've forgotten something, and
Feel free to join the Discord.
yeah, feel free to join the Discord if you need help. We'll try and put as many videos out as we can to help people, but if not, the Discord is available and there's a really, really great bunch of people on there.
And thank you, Glenn.
And thank you to Glenn. I'm just looking over there. He's put his 420 blazing for the MUB Roof Fund. Thank you very much. We do appreciate that. I genuinely do. I'm going to have a slurp of my tea, because I've been chatting away like a lunatic. It's nearly 11 o'clock already.
Are you going to review the new AMD Radeon RX 660 XT?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know whether we'll be reviewing the 6600 XT. I don't know if there's a market for it at the moment at its current price. I'm really not sure. I'm going to have to think it over.
Did you get a power supply out of Dell?
No, the power supply came out of actually it came out of an acrylic PC, which we were bequeathed. I think that looks great. I genuinely do.
Zapsys says they're trying to upgrade from a Palette GTX 1060 3GB GPU. I'm not sure what to upgrade to next.
If 1063 gig, your next point of call would probably be something like a 1070. 1070 would be a good idea if you're looking on the used market. If you're not on the used market, new, I'd say probably you probably want to skip the 2060 and go to the 2070, or maybe a 5700 XT. There we go.
Do you want the S light off?
Yeah, go on then. I think that's pretty darn cool.
Camera never does the lights nice.
It doesn't, but it's actually doing a pretty good job on that, I think.
It's nicer in real life still. Much more vivid.
It's got quite a nice fan to it, hasn't it? The way the colours
Go
quite...
how loud they are.
Sorry?
Go closer to see how loud they are.
Right, I am... You can definitely hear air moving through. But it's not like an annoying whine. Actually spinning quite slow, really. I'd say it's probably about 800 RPM.
Steven Spielberg wants his UFOs back.
Do 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 do. It is, isn't it? This one on the back is what I would say is going to be the more problematic. Although saying that, yeah, it's not too bad. I like it. I really do. I think it's great. And there is a lot of air going through there. Well, there would be. There's best part of 400 centimeters squared of air. But yeah, I think there's a. I think it's got a really kind of.
Looks like a traffic light.
Almost like an aggressive look at the front. On the actual paperwork that came through, it looked like the fans actually had like an outer rim, which was illuminated, but it isn't. It's just where the light is catching the plastic, and it's kind of reflecting against the inner bezel. I think it's got a very unique look to it. It's weird because it's not a unique design, but it's got a unique look to it. So where is the RGB button? So we've got some RGB patterns which we can go through. They do actually fade really nice.
Zaps, this says, would a 20 series GPU fit in the SIP flash ARGB case you did?
CIT flash.
Oh.
They saved every one of us. I'm not sure. What graphics card was it? Would a 20 series? Some will, some won't. It depends. 20 series is a little bit of a... That's like saying, would a man fit in a Mini? Yes, he probably would, but how big is that man? So yeah, not sure from that one, sorry. You need to be a little bit more precise about your particular graphics card. Essentially, pretty much any card will fit in there, as long as it's not a triple fan, which might struggle. Ordinary Dude says the 6600 XT makes the APUs look like a good deal. Yes, they do. Kenny D says right amount of RGB for me. Dutch Jan says not my case. Name B9 says you look like a James Bond villain. Okay, I'll take that. DCat, how you doing, DCat? Ancient alien theorists say yes. They probably do. Mark Point says I'd rather get a 1660 Ti over a 2060, 3060 or 600 XT. Yeah, at the moment the second-hand market is awesome. Again, at the moment there's a guy in Bristol selling GTX 1070s, the EVGA's ones, EVGA-SC in fact, with the metal backplates. There goes my speaker. And he's currently selling those for £200. So £200 is an excellent price for a 2070. Sorry, a 1070. Not a TI version, he has got TIs as well, which are a bit more expensive, but the stock 1070 is 200 quid. It's brilliant. If anybody wants one off him, I'm sure we can probably work, because I don't think he'll deliver them to you, but he might deliver them to me and I can pass them on to you. But you have to pay your shipping, because I'm not. Anyway, next lighting cycle. So now we've got some windmill puke. There is that going to be a breathing one or is that static? That's breathing red, breathing green.
The Hulk build.
Hulk build. Hulk smash. Then we've got a trippy red thing, trippy green thing, trippy. Oh, what's going on there? There's some random ass stuff going on there. That fly is getting right on my wick.
Literally.
Actual pissing me off. Next one, so we've got RGB Beacon of Doom. Wait for the yellow. And there's like a weird amber colour which comes out of here as well. Oh, that's a bit bizarre.
That's John Sullivan's ad.
So this, I think that's going to be statics. Yeah, red, green, blue, yellowy green snot, COVID colour, blue, pink, gigabyte orange, I would say that is. It probably doesn't look like it on the camera, but if you're looking at building a gigabyte motherboard,
Similar on the camera.
that would be, yeah, gigabyte. that's gigabyte colours through and through. Actually, have I got a gigabyte motherboard here somewhere? I don't think I have.
No, mine are glass.
Okay.
You so make me cringe with glass behind you.
Don't cringe.
You are so near to it. So cringy.
I'll put it on there, it'll fall off the table. Anyway, I haven't got anything gigabyte here, so I can't show you the resemblance, but it is strikingly close to gigabyte. Next is white. Now on this you can tell, obviously, because there is a larger fan on the front and smaller on the back, the diffusal on that actually does stand out quite a lot. So the back one looks very bright.
Matthew Day suggested remove the front and allow the fly to enter the fan.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Where's the little bugger? Been here all day. I think you get bored. Anyway, we're back to rainbow puke.
How do you know it's a fly and not a drone?
It might be a drone. It might be one of those new bloody things.
Insect drones.
Insect drone coming to
Take your video ideas.
take my mind thoughts. My mind thoughts.
Don't think they want them.
No, I told you I'm not very well. Anyway, I think for £45 this is a bargain. £46 getting cheaper. £46.95 I think it is, isn't it? Is it £46.95?
I have no idea.
Something like that. I like this a lot. I really do. So let's actually I'll take the front panel off.
Which one's that? The Taiyo?
This is the Taiyo.
That one's $42.95.
42.95 on Amazon. That is just mad. Actually, you can.
$43.95 on eBay.
Yeah, £43, ladies and gentlemen. That is bloody stupid money. There we are.
In stereo.
There's with the front panel off, and this was one of the fans that I damaged myself on. Actual blood. Nice. They're pretty quiet as well, even with the front panel off up. Although the front panel's just mesh, so there's definitely, you can hear air moving through it, but when you're moving that much air, it'd be pretty impossible not to. I like a lot. And if you press and hold the LED button on the front, it then switches over to motherboard mode, which we haven't got a motherboard connected, so obviously it's not going to do a great deal. But yeah, nice and easy to build in because you've got plenty of room. And obviously switching out the fans is an absolute piece of cake. And I think putting the three 140s up in the front there, from the those in-win ones, I think actually that fit. Yeah, one, two, yeah, three 140s and the other ones in the front and back. And I'm almost tempted to have this for my own personal rig, I've got to be honest. Which I've only just changed. I built my PC into the Gamemax, the COC case, and I swapped it out pretty quick. I shouldn't say that, but it's true. So let's take that out. Now, obviously, because this is Molex, I cannot just disconnect it because it will get upset. Very upset. Let's just pull the plug. So, what's the opinion? Mark Berry says, Mike says, buy one now. Fandy says, so Mike, should I replace my 200mm with a dual 140 or 120 for front fans? If your 200mm is working and doing what you need it to, then don't change it. You only ever need to change anything if it's not doing what it needs to do. I'm fine. I like 200mm fans. I've got that. What's the other one? The little case, the DK-D3A, which that's what I wanted a micro ATX board for, to do a build in. Thing is, when you've got cases of this kind of price and this kind of quality, like the metal and actually most of the screw holes and stuff like that actually seem to be pretty decent. It's not as if they've cut corners on the shell. It's all pretty decent. Actually, that's bloody strong. The back plate is, let's see, I'm pushing on that quite hard. and that is hard to move. So yeah, it's a solid case. It really is a solid case. If I'm trying to think what it would need for me to actually turn around and say, yes, this is my favorite case of all time. I think the only thing is not having a fan controller, because it's a little bit smaller than the F15. It's a little bit, yeah, it's shorter, it's narrower, it's basically a more compact version of the F15, but for like 20 quid cheaper, so like 2/3 of the price. And what do you not get? You don't get remote control fans, which I think these look as good, and they're not overly noisy, so it's not as if you're going to be in the position where it's unbearable to live with. There will be obviously some people that just refuse point blank, no, I must have full control over my fans.
That's Kieran.
Yeah, in which case
Liked it until I heard the word Moolot.
Yeah. It is what it is. You can, like I said, like the case itself, structurally, there's nothing you can complain about.
Can you just show the front I/O?
Oh, front I/O, sorry, yeah, front I/O is possibly a little bit lacking, but then they do tend to be. So you've got a single USB 3.0, two USB 2.0, a separate mic and headphone jack, a LED button which you can use as a reset switch if you wish. Next to that is a power LED and a HDD activity LED, and then at the very front we've got our nice clicky power button. So overall, I'm genuinely impressed. I don't think there's anything better on the market for 40 quid. You might be able to go up a little bit higher. So was it 42.99? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, for 42.99, that's just insanity. There are some really, there's some actual real dog shit cases on the market for that sort of money, and this ain't one of them. Very, very impressed. How they managed to do it for the money, I'll never know. So I'm going to pack this one away, and then we'll take a look at the other one. The other name that I can't pronounce. Was it Kesha? 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 Kesha?
Kessho.
It's Kesha. There's a party don't stop till she gets in. Don't stop, the party rock. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Bruce Jenner singing TikTok is possibly one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen in my entire life. God bless him. Huh? Oh yeah, sorry, Caitlin. My mistake, I'm old. Right. This is the IONZ. This is their Pro Gamer. This is Kesha. Kesha. Kessho. Whatever you want to call it. Call it what you like. Oh, California mode on the lights again. Oh, I've got 2 screws there. Always got screws left over from the build. So let's have a look at this one. This is, as you can see, it's got like a bizarre hexagonally mesh type thing going on. Essentially, it's exactly the same case, but this comes with 4, I believe, is it 4? Yeah, 4 addressable RGB fans, all of the 120 variety, and a kind of fractal kind of front panel, which I'm actually quite intrigued to see what it looks like in real life, because normally I don't really appreciate that kind of design. It's a little bit too much for my liking. But we will see. Right, cats, there you go, have another box. I'm going to get electric shock out. Right, that's good.
You're going to fall in, mate.
Tick tock. What have I always got like on my head? Come on. Actually, let's turn it around so they...
Eddie ordered that case today.
Oh, this one?
Eddie from Scotland.
Oh, nice one.
It's that one.
Wow. That is...
Monetization goal.
Oh, yeah.
Copyright song.
Damn. Metro Goldrin Mirror. That's it. Oh, shit! Electric shock.
What are we doing?
Hate that. So that is a very, very unusual design. That's got some weird stuff going on there, hasn't it? There's like a white... I can't even work out if that's like a mirror effect on the front. Oh, I've run over my bloody mic lead. So actually, yeah, those are... Okay, so that's glass there. Or plastic. And that's mesh. There's your power button on the front. No, hang on, that's not a power button. Because that's a power button.
So love it or hate it front.
It is a very, very, yeah, divisive front panel right there. I think the... Oh, these fans are a completely different design as well. So I think the best thing to do is we know what the inside is like because it's exactly the same case as the previous one. So I think
interrupt a minute.
You can.
Bub FN is having trouble with his piece or their PC.
Yeah.
I said join the Discord.
Yes.
But can you say it so that Twitch Bub FN?
Where are we? Twitch. The
They're
cameras.
having lots of problems. Somebody's trying to help them, but
Oh, right, okay.
if they join the Discord, they can send photos and stuff, can't they? And
Yeah, if you join on the Discord, Twitch, then yeah, we'll take some pictures and you show us what is going on. We can help you out there.
maybe more tomorrow than tonight.
Yeah, it won't be tonight because
Depends who's on.
the party don't stop till I get home. Let's stick a power supply in and blow this puppy up. This is a really weird setup. It really is.
Jay Jones is in.
Hey Jay Jones, hey Eddie, DCat, Ordinary Dude, Twitch, Bub Effin. I can't pronounce that.
Joined.
John Sullivan's with us as well, Captain Meets Adventure as well. Did anyone happen to see the pyramid case on Austin's channel? I think it's a Illuminati thing, because Linus had one on his channel, and Austin's got one now, so that means they've been confirmed Illuminati. Now this, bizarrely,
I don't say that either.
I don't know, I say Illuminati either.
I don't think so.
Ah, for feck's sake. Right, what is going on here with this? So this RGB nonsense on here is all daisy chained. So this has got regular RGB connections on it. Just normal 5 volt 3-pin RGB. So you got each fan has got its own RGB cable. They don't appear, as far as I can tell, or do they? Just trying to see if they've got.
Yeah, focus is getting a bit freaked out at the front of that case.
Ah, there might be a problem. Looks like this one's been damaged in transit. So the actual cable there is damaged. Looks like it's been chopped straight through. Damn.
I can take the focus off the case, if you like, because it's
Okay.
playing with the camera focus for these squares.
Right, let's see what is going on here. So we have got, praise be, a single SATA cable for power, which is always a good thing. But it does appear that the fans themselves, the fans are actually 3-pin DC, so you have got control over the fans, which I don't understand it. So these, yeah, the fans can all be daisy chained together, but they've got 3-pin DC connectors. So you can, if you want to, control the fan speeds, but they're all, I can't see what they're actually daisy chained to, if anything. There isn't a fan controller in here, so the end connection should, I guess, would go into a motherboard. Oh well, let's fire it up and see what happens. Probably bang. A lot of wires here. It might go bang actually because that frayed cable.
Bang!
Oh, you're a dick. I hate you. Don't do that. Right.
Fun when you think it's
So the fans aren't. Yeah, the fans are just regular fans. So they're 5-volt addressable RGB and 3-pin voltage DC control rather than PWM, but effectively that's the same thing. You wouldn't tell the difference in the real world. And that's kind of trippy. Can you kill the light, Kath, please? That reminds me of a lantern.
They've had, it reminds them of
Right, we've got an LED button, haven't we? But that doesn't do anything because... Yeah, because we haven't got an RGB controller, have we, as such, so we can't really do anything...
Run and Destiny.
Where's the last cable on the strip? Yeah, so we're going to need some kind of
Lava lamp.
RGB. Yeah, it is a bit. It is quite lava lamp, actually, isn't it? Oh my God, there's quite a lot of cable in here. So is that the last one on the strip? Yes, it is. Right.
Next Halloween.
Yeah, it's a shame I can't change the lighting really because I've got nothing to actually change it with. I've not got a long enough RGB cable to actually plug it into anything else, and I've not got another SATA connection on the power supply to plug in the Gamemax controller. Shame these weren't Molex, that'd be a lot easier. Let's take the front panel off a minute.
Oh, did you notice that?
So, there's a screw there holding the fans in, so those should be lit up. I think the cable I have managed to disconnect somehow. So let's have a look at that. And that button on the front must be, hey, there we go.
Should turn the light back off.
So if I press and hold, yeah, press and hold would, now that's pretty cool. So the RGB button on the front, press and hold, and you can then choose the various lighting styles. So you've got a massive RGB strip in the actual front panel, and you've got 4 RGB fans behind it as well. But you also got a load of mesh on the front. That is such a bizarre design. I've got to try and work out now what I've disconnected. So that is from that one, which goes into that one. There must be something here disconnected. There's one, so let's plug that in there. There we go, there's another one. And there must be another cable somewhere which isn't connected. Geez, there's a lot of cables going on there. Anyway, you can see there's, I've connected up the second one now. So where is the last one? Yeah, this cabling could have been done a little bit better from the factory, if I'm completely honest with you. There we go. There's the last one, and that can plug in there. So yeah, all the RGB, and also for the fans. Oh, that's a little bit bent now. I've broken that. I broke that. It was me.
All the RGB strip.
There we go. They all lit up now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Will the RGB strip impede airflow?
Yes, it will to some extent, but because of the RGB strip being central down this middle channel, that is where your fan hub is. So the fan hub area generally gets no airflow through it whatsoever. It's only the surrounding sides and the top and bottom, so you are going to impede the airflow very slightly. So magnetic mesh on the front, also held on with screws as well. I'm not sure why, but these look like the Sahara fans, the Pirate blades. Very similar indeed. Yeah. You could, if you wanted to, take that RGB strip out of the front altogether, get rid of all that wiring and the controller, and just wire those fans up to your PC. You don't need to have that front panel really, with the illumination on. So if you wanted the extra airflow, you certainly could. I think it's actually... We killed a light skin calf?
That's what makes that line of diamonds in the middle a different colour slightly.
Yeah, probably is, yeah.
You've got the light on the other side.
So with the, it's a difficult thing to get. Yeah, it gives you an illusion of of depth, because you've got the RGB light in behind from the fans.
Get that from the camera, actually.
Yeah, it's a kind of like
it looks 3D.
It does look three-dimensional. It doesn't. You can't see the fans themselves.
It looks almost like those magic eyes.
Yeah.
Really
It's pretty clever.
Camera, do you?
Trying to see if there's there's our rainbow puke. That looks nice. Yeah, there's definitely a very kind of strange 3D effect going on there. I like it. I didn't think I was going to like it, but actually I don't mind. It's so different. It's cool. And how much is this one, Calf? I think this one's probably about the same price, if not slightly dearer. Probably dearer because you get the extra RGB lighting.
Is that
It doubles up as a sunbed.
$4.95 on Amazon.
Yeah, so this one's £2 dearer on Amazon.
And $45.95 on eBay.
This is pretty cool. I like it. There's a lot of lights here. Oh, that's better. That's gone into proper RGB.
Paradise.
Yeah.
Drive bays.
Drive bays are going to be exactly the same as the other ones. So we've got two 3.5-inch drives can go in the bottom, and on the back of the motherboard there's options for 2 SSDs. So 4 drives in total. It's a really bright light actually. That's cool.
It's very vivid.
Isn't it?
I wish that 3D effect would come across on camera.
Yeah, the 3D effect is, yeah, that's impressive. I like.
It doesn't come across on there, does it?
No. You stick the light on again, please.
Do you answer the drive?
What can I say? Yeah, drive bays wise, yeah, so you've got a mounting area on the back for SSDs. You could probably stick a couple in there. I suppose really it's probably, if you were to go by the book on this one, I would probably say it's just 2 drives, but there are holes in there so you could mount drives in other places, which may or may not be suitable. But on the back here, you've got 2 spaces there, so you could put 2 drives in there, SSDs, or mechanical drives, I suppose. Mechanical drives might send a bit of vibration through. I'm impressed with those fans. It's a shame, actually, if they'd have put these fans in the other case, I think that would have made that other case a much better case. But it's the look of that 200mm, which kind of, the front panel is kind of tailored for that look.
And the front panel's tailored for that look, isn't it? People are quite liking it.
Yeah, I think if that front panel was
I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
Was mesh, that might look, I don't know, because it is virtually mesh. It is really nice. Actually, looking at it from the back, from actually inside the case, you can see even more depth, and you can kind of peer out through the mesh at the front, and it's quite an open mesh, which is, I guess, why they've put the. Guess what? That's why they've put the huge air filter in the front there. So you don't have to use that if you don't want to. I probably wouldn't, to be honest with you. Shame we haven't got something to power the fans with, so we could get a real good feel of how well they do. But again, if they're 3-pin DC fans, then you're going to be able to control them from basically 0 volts all the way up to 9 volts or 12 volts or whatever it is.
Same case, just another front.
Yeah, essentially it is the same case with a different front and a different lighting setup. Bizarrely, a better one. So I'm guessing at some point there's going to be a version of this with a mesh front, the same fans, possibly. Yeah, that's such a shame they didn't integrate the same style of fans on the Taiyo. But other than that, it's the same chassis. You've still got that removable drive bay, so 3.5-inch drive on the bottom, 3.5-inch drive on the top if you want, or a 2.5. I suppose you could put 2.5 top and bottom on there as well if you wanted. I think drive cages these days are becoming less and less of a thing, with NAS drives becoming more and more important and actually easier to manage. Speaking of which, we have got a new NAS device coming up very, very shortly on the channel. It is under embargo at the moment, so we can't release the video. There is a new ASUS Store 2-bay drive, which is coming in at a ridiculously low price. It's a slightly lower powered version, but it's still a dual drive NAS with all those great ASUS Store features. So yeah, I can't say much more about it at the moment because, well, I'm not allowed to. But that will be coming up very soon. And I think that is going to be the way things are going to go. People are going to have their mass storage on a NAS, and with network speeds becoming faster and faster, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet and above, having mass storage inside your PC is becoming less of a thing. But yeah, I am pleasantly surprised.
Turn it round towards the camera, you might get that 3D effect with lights on.
Yeah, you're kind of getting it
Get
there.
a bit more, don't you, with the lights on and what you do.
It is a very unusual design.
It looks very diamondy on the front on the camera, but in real life it doesn't particularly.
Yeah, in real life, those accents which are being picked up by that light on here, here, and here, looking at it in real life,
you don't see them, and you don't.
I can't see that.
That bit there, some diamonds in the middle.
Yeah.
That doesn't notice, does it, in real life as much?
No.
Not vivid like it is on the camera.
Yeah. It's bizarre the way that the camera picks up things differently from the human eye. Yeah, it's pretty darn cool.
Can't get that on Amazon US, but if there's a link in the description for it from Amazon, from eBay.
Yes, yeah, DCAT. If you're trying to get hold of one of these, there is a link that Kath's put in the video description, which is from eBay UK.
US.
Sorry, eBay US, and they do offer free shipping, I believe. Is that right?
I think so. Free international shipping.
It does say free international shipping, so I can't imagine them charging for local shipping if they're giving away free international.
$71. Same day shipping, 12-month warranty, brand new, free international shipping.
Wow. So what is what's the opinion there, ladies and gentlemen?
Free returns.
Now this is one of my prime examples. I'm gonna hate on Gamemax a little bit here because when we're considering now what the COC case was offering for the money and the build quality, etc., I would take this over that quite easily, I think, because I feel that the actual structural chassis of this is a very, very strong chassis. It's a very good design. As far as I can tell at the moment, all the screw threads kind of behave as they're meant to, which is about all you can ask, really.
We have a question about a NAS. Can I interrupt?
You have a question about a NAS? I can try.
Barnes asked, are NAS drives purely for business use?
No. NAS drives are actually becoming more and more for home use, especially with Google Photos now restricting what you can and can't actually upload and charging you for the privilege. Something which is coming out very soon, which some of you probably have seen in the news, is Apple are actually doing a thing for, they'll be scanning all of your photos that you take and store online to see if there's any matches for indecent images, etc. Now, my problem with that is one of, obviously, security. Obviously, even if it is a AI thing and it's scanning your documents or your pictures, a picture has a digital ID. It doesn't, a digital ID of a picture doesn't look like a picture. It just looks like a digital ID. So it's actually very easy for a digital ID to not be what the picture is, if that makes any sense. So it's open to things like fraud and cross communication. So if you had a perfectly legitimate image on your phone, but somehow by some freak occurrence that digital fingerprint of that image matches or is very similar to a known image of a bad image on the system, you could quite easily end up having the police or the flying squad knocking on your door in the middle of the night or breaking down your front door to come in and arrest you. Now, to me, that is terrifying, because it's not as if there's a human being actually looking at each individual image and going, yeah, that's bad, arrest them. That's good, they're fine. It's a computer analysing a digital fingerprint of an image. Not looking at the image, just making up a fingerprint of the image and seeing if there's any similarities in that digital fingerprint. It could be very, very bad in the hands of someone who was intentionally trying to frame you for something. They could potentially send you an image which they know is going to get scanned and picked up.
Like WhatsApp,
yeah.
directly to your camera roll, isn't it?
WhatsApp, Messenger, all those kinds of services, people can just send you an image. And it's not until you click on it that you realise that, oh shit, I shouldn't have clicked on that image.
I think even WhatsApp.
We had the same thing with Discord as well.
Into your camera roll.
Yeah, so Discord used to do the same thing as well. Top or bottom? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to put this to one side because I'm going to have to do that post-stream, I believe. But yeah, that is what concerns me. So if you have your own NAS, you can, if you want to, you can opt out of all those things. So you don't have to be using OneDrive, you don't have to be using Google Drive, you don't have to be using your Amazon storage space. All of these services that have been offered to us on a plate over the years, these free services like get 15 gigabytes of free storage with your Microsoft account, get 10 gigabytes of free storage with your Gmail account, all this kind of stuff. All of it all along has been, they don't give you stuff for free. They want something from you, which is your custom generally and your increased storage needs as time goes on. So as you probably noticed, as time goes on, files get bigger. We've gone from digital images, like say you take a JPEG, digital camera a couple of years ago would be a 2 megapixel image. Now it's an 8 megapixel image or more. So the storage needs have kind of quadrupled as time has gone on. And they know damn well that once you get into a routine of storing your stuff on a cloud service, it's a pain in the ass to move it.
They just move it without even asking you.
They do stuff to your, yeah, they can do stuff to your stuff. They can move OneDrive stuff. If someone messes something up, you can lose lots of stuff. It potentially can happen, or you can even delete your own stuff. So taking all of that stuff out of the hands of the cloud providers, and by using your own personal cloud, it's inherently more safe, or inherently safer is the word I should have used. And you've got control over it. So you can control how much it costs you a month, because it's a one-off fee pretty much. You can still, if you want to, back up your NAS to cloud services after in some encrypted way. So like on our NAS here, I do a backup of my PC every day, which then gets put onto the NAS for safety. So if my PC blows up or whatever, I've got an image of that entire system on the NAS. Also, picture-wise, everything that is on OneDrive, sorry, everything that I've got is in my NAS, which is then backed up into OneDrive, but not as images, as a kind of compressed file. So they don't have my images, they have basically a big RAR file or WinZip file, that kind of thing, so like an ISO image. Inherently, it makes it safer because I've got control of it. there is the thing where you should really keep your data in 3 locations. So physical location, a duplicate physical location, and another location off-site. The off-site one isn't always easy to do, so that's why I use the cloud services to back up my backups, if that makes sense. So yeah, a NAS is, if it's something you've not thought of before, now that the prices are coming down, especially with this new one from Meizu store being what I would consider to be kind of crazy cheap, if you're thinking about it, it's a really good entry level into it. It's only a dual bay device, so you can put 2 drives in. If you want to, you can just put a single drive in, just put like a single 4 or 8 terabyte drive in, and you're off to the races. You can get started. Now, you don't get data redundancy until you put 2 drives in, but it's still a means of accessing stuff on your network. So if there's maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe more of you in a home, and you're all accessing maybe a Plex store of video files, or you've all got your photos and they're all dotted around on different devices, then you can, in theory, make a NAS do all that for you and centralize everything and keep it off the cloud. But I'm probably waffling on way too much there. It is a nice thing to have. It is an investment, don't get me wrong, because an 8 terabyte drive or a 16 terabyte drive isn't inexpensive. But if you're already paying for a subscription service, maybe OneDrive, you're paying £10 a month for what, a couple of terabytes of data, yeah, you can potentially save some money in the long run. But yeah, it is one of those definite things you have to consider, and hopefully when we release the video in a couple of weeks' time, when the embargo is lifted, you can take a look at it and make up your own mind and see, well, yeah, okay, I would be more comfortable having all of my stuff centralized in my house on my server rather than out there in the cloud somewhere. Food for thought, certainly is food for thought. So let's go back to Matthew Day. Trouble with 2-bay NAS, you can double the capacity or add redundancy, but not both. 3-bay RAID 5 would be better. Well, actually, with the 2-bay models, you can, especially with the new hybrid RAID systems, if you've got 2 drives, say for instance you've got 2 8 terabyte drives, for instance, that's two 4 terabyte drives, and you then want to increase the size of it, you can remove one of the 4 terabyte drives and put in an 8, then let it rebuild, and then put in another 8. So you can kind of upgrade it in that way and add space to it, which is quite an easy thing to do. I've done a video on the DS220 Plus doing that exact same thing. So it isn't quite as simple as just adding another drive to double the capacity, but even with a 3 or 4 or even a 5-bay NAS, adding say you've got 2 4 gig drives, if you add another 4 gig drive, it doesn't give you 12 gigs, it gives you 10 gigs because you've got the redundancy across the drives. It's quite complicated. If you go over to the Synology drive compatibility or drive chart, you can go through and try different combinations and it'll tell you what your outcomes will be with various drives. It's quite good.
Is that just for Synology or is it for...
It's just for Synology, but it does kind of make sense for other ones as well. Blake says the problem people have been talking about is the misuse of tech from nation states. Yep, that's definitely going to be a thing. Well, we're getting to the point now where more and more things are being censored. Obviously, things like Facebook, Twitter, all the other mainstream things, LinkedIn, etc. Everything you post is fact-checked. But it's only fact-checked against fact-checkers from those companies which have employed the fact-checkers. So, yeah. Independent media is a thing of the past, my friends. Nick Barnes says, thanks Mike, I had heard of both NAS and Apple decisions. I have never trusted cloud services, so use an external device. Look forward to watching the NAS video. Cool. Astro Inferno says, I have a AB350M Gaming 3 and I see a B550M Phantom Gaming 4 going for 32 quid. Blimey. Should I go for it? Yeah, for 32 quid, that's bloody great. In fact, if there's a B550M Phantom Gaming for 32 quid, tell me where, because I'll buy it. So I need a micro ATX board. Cosmic says, stay away, go for an MSI. I don't know, for £32, even if it is ASRock, Phantom Gaming 4, I had the large version of it, the B550 one, the ATX version. And it's actually a really decent little board. Although I paid considerably more than 32 quid. I think I paid about 110 for the ATX version. So yeah, for that money, that's awesome. Astro Inferno, if you've got a link for it, let me know where it is if you don't buy it.
You can't put links in, can they?
Oh no, that's true. You'd have to separate the links. Right, I've actually gone 40 minutes over my allotted time, so it's almost 3 hours in. Wow, can't believe it. And we still didn't get to unbox everything. But still, that is what the rest of the week is for. So I think we're going to wrap things up there, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise for keeping you all awake this late. I've actually got to go to work tomorrow, so that's going to suck. Major ballsack. So,
Unlike Bob's blower.
Unlike Bob's blower, yes. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, coming up in the week, so we're going to have tons of videos on fan installations and all that kind of stuff. Also, obviously, we'll have the in-depth reviews of both these cases at some point. There will also be the monitor from Sky, as soon as I work out how to plumb all that up. The headphones from Ugly Bob. Calf's waving.
The fan videos probably be the week after because we've put all the
the fan videos,
on Patreon
yeah.
already, haven't we?
Patreon members, if you're a Patreon member, you should now be getting a week's worth of videos in advance. So thank you all for our Patreon members. You do not realise how much help it actually is on Patreon. So thank you all so much for being on Patreon and helping us out. And you do now get videos which are more than a day in advance. So yeah, hopefully that's a good thing, and hopefully it's enjoyed by some.
As and when we get them uploaded, we'll
I think that is, yeah, that's going to be it. I don't think there's anything else I can say apart from thank you all for the super chats. Again, thank you to Ugly Bob and Sky and Welly Bob as well for sending us stuff this week. Yeah, you are all fantastic individuals, and may you all live long and prosperous and healthy lives. So that's going to wrap it up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. If you've got any further questions that I haven't answered in the stream, or you've come in late and you want to ask any questions, you can head over to the Discord. I probably won't be on there because I've got all this to de-rig and etc, etc, but there'll be other guys and girls on there having a chat, and if I can get on there later, I will do. But otherwise, I will be on there tomorrow after I finish work, and I'll be able to answer any of your questions. So thank you all again for joining us for this stream. Sorry it's been a bit longer than usual. And yeah, that is going to be it. Hopefully our roof doesn't leak tonight, because that would suck majorly, and I don't have a blower to blow all the water away.
But we
so
could have a nice builder come around and kind of help it
yeah,
a bit.
it has been semi kind of temporarily fixed a bit at the moment, so fingers crossed it lasts. So anyway, I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.